This time I only brought Tara and Wenji out with me. After all these days in this world, I had a solid feel for the land nearby. As long as I didn't run into something like a crimson flame dragon or a blazing sunbird, my current stats, synced with Aqua's, were more than enough to handle ordinary monsters. And if I truly couldn't win, one spatial shift from Wenji could pull me out instantly. Every extra pair of hands back at the base counted. If I handled this myself, Wuji, Ellie, and Hoshu could free up to do real work. Through the woods, over the hills, and up the second peak. Tara stopped halfway up the slope at a spot buried in vines and started bouncing high. Squee, squee. Wenji and I exchanged a glance. This is the place. Squee. Tara gave a round little push and squeezed straight into the vines. I hooked a corner aside with my sword. Behind it was a cave, so dark I couldn't see my own hand. We walked in a ways before I pulled out my flashlight, and only then spotted Tara up ahead. It hopped a couple times, waving us on. The deeper we went, the wider the space got. Up ahead, a faint yellow glow began to seep through. I figured it was the cave mouth. But when I rounded the bend, what I saw was a rectangular block of stone giving off that yellow light. A glowing stone? My eyes lit up on the spot. You have to understand, the highest grade of crimson flame crystal I'd ever seen barely gave off a shimmer. This thing was nearly 330 feet away and still this bright. Beside the stone sat 2 bookshelves, a table, and a chair, all made of black wood. I hadn't noticed them a moment ago. This stone, it's a bed, isn't it? Wenji stepped closer. It looks like a temporary dwelling for some powerful, highly intelligent being. Another highly intelligent being. I frowned. This planet just kept getting deeper the more I dug, with no bottom in sight. The blazing sunbird, the crimson flame dragon, the hero's sword carved with the word lawn, the Geely mountain clan at the top of the thunder tower, and now someone carving out mountains. Every single one of them kept my nerves stretched tight. Squee. Tara bounced forward and let out a big shout in every direction. The next second, I froze. Out of the stone walls poured earth-type slimes, one after another. They all crowded toward Tara, like they were thrilled it had come back. Squee. Squee squee. Squee squee squee. Tara chattered and gestured, explaining to its kin why we were there. When it finished, the way those slimes looked at Wenji and me changed. The wariness and fear gave way to curiosity and gratitude. Earth slimes are a bit shyer than the big water and fire ones, Wenji said with a smile. I smiled too. So far I fully lived up to the title of innate slime holy body. The very first thing I saw when I landed was a slime, and the slimes hadn't stopped coming since. Even without converting them, they rushed to help. But no matter. I had a trick. I crouched down, fished an energy jelly out of my lord's space, peeled it open, said nothing, and just waved it at them. Instant results. The earth slimes that couldn't even meet my eyes a second ago now had their gazes welded to that jelly. And then, clear drool came streaming down. I snickered to myself. From the day it first appeared, this jelly had been a slime's one true weakness, and the earth type was no exception. Squee, squee. They let out soft little cries without meaning to, their bodies drifting toward me against their will. Come on, this is for you. I beckoned. One finally couldn't hold out, lunged over, and swallowed the jelly in one gulp. Easy, there's plenty. I peeled another. The second, the third, the fourth. A few jellies in, they all treated me like family. My knees, my shoulders, my arms, all packed with slimes, and some even burrowed into my chest and rubbed their faces on me. Eat up, eat up. I laughed harder, pulling jelly after jelly out. I'd stocked up plenty before heading back this time. This stuff was practically worthless back on Earth, and a few pieces won over a whole crew of construction experts. Such a bargain. Conversion runes cost gold coins, and right now I was short on gold for building upgrades, so every bit I saved helped. The sooner I won them over, the sooner I could speed things up. I was in the middle of feeding them when Wenji suddenly spoke. Judging by their size, their levels don't look low. Really, I didn't think much of it and flicked out a few inspect spells with a flip of my hand. The results startled me. Level 22, level 24, level 21, level 26. Not a single one in this group was under level 20. Tara, who came to me at level 20 back then, was actually the lowest of the bunch. Even more incredible, most of these guys knew earth element construction. I was overjoyed. I'd been planning to win them over and level them up slowly, then build up their skills, but now it was all ready-made. But that raised a question. How did they level up? Wenji and I whipped our heads around and said it at the same time. Slimes were the weakest grade F monsters. There was nothing more pathetic on this planet. How did something this weak get to over level 20? Tara alone was an exception. You could say it happened to planets, but right on some nearly dead powerful monster. But now there was a whole swarm of them over level 20, and that didn't add up. Squee. Terra tilted its head, looked at me, then at Wenji, thought for a moment, and suddenly had a look of realization. It hopped up onto that glowing stone bed a few times and motioned for us to come over. You mean it has to do with this bed? Half believing it, I cast an inspect spell at the stone bed. Name, Earth Mother Stone Spirit. Grade SS. Description, prolonged contact grants continuous experience and significantly raises the chance of enlightenment. Shop buyback price, 1,000 gold coins per third of an ounce. Huh, I was stunned. I guessed this big stone was no ordinary thing, but I never expected it to grant experience. No wonder. No wonder this group of earth slimes had grown to over level 20. It all fit. I told Wenji what it did, and even this learned, brilliant woman in my eyes was taken aback. There's actually a stone like this? You've never seen one either? You jest, my lord. Wenji covered her mouth. I've read through my family's books since childhood, but the world is vast. How could anyone know it all? A stone that grants both experience and enlightenment is rare among the rare. Either effect alone is precious. The first lets monsters and heroes gain strength with no risk. The second can even help a hero stuck at a threshold break through to a higher level. This stone is a blessing in your territory. If it were loose out in the world, who knows how many great powers would bloody each other fighting over it. Wait, I latched right onto the key point. You just said it helps a hero stuck at a threshold reach a higher level. What do you mean? Exactly what it sounds like, Wenji said, like it was obvious. No. I shook my head. Are you talking about level or rank? Rank, my lord. Rank. My brow nodded tight. Isn't a hero's rank fixed? It can go up. Of course it can. Wenji smiled behind her folding fan. A hero is a hero because they grasped a skill through hardship and earned the recognition of the hero's seal. Skills differ in caliber, so the hero's seal is divided into ranks. Most heroes are limited by their talent and never advance a single step their whole lives. But there's always a rare few who refuse to accept their fate and force their way past their limits. I won't hide it from you, my lord. The reason I set out to train was because I refused to stop at grade B. I want to reach grade A and even grade S. So that was it. It all fit. I felt a warm current rush from the soles of my feet straight to the crown of my head. On Earth, lords were dead set on the idea that a hero's rank couldn't change. But academics had always questioned it. Heroes weren't like monsters. They weren't born as heroes, they were made afterward. And since they were made afterward, advancing afterward had to be possible too. There just had never been a real example, so the claim stayed on paper. Now Wenji's few words had given that argument real backing. Then if I give you this Earth Motherstone Spirit, how soon can you reach grade A? You misunderstand, my lord. Wenji gave a light shake of her head. A hero's advancement is about the unity of knowledge and action. Different heroes walk different paths, but they all have to absorb, understand, and comprehend, over and over, countless times, until a flash of insight comes and they break through in enlightenment. The road before that can only be walked alone. Only at the final moment can the Earth Motherstone Spirit lend me a hand. Just as I thought. I nodded. This confirmed my guess. A hero's advancement was a shift from quantity to quality. The Earth Motherstone Spirit was only a catalyst that sped up that qualitative shift. The build-up before it still took the hero one step at a time. But don't underestimate it, Wenji reminded me. The build-up is long, but plenty of heroes are willing to put in the work, and many do accumulate enough. Yet very few actually advance. The root of it is enlightenment. It's too hard, too elusive. No pattern, no trace. If you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, everything before it comes to nothing. She was still sighing over it when the stone wall beside the bed suddenly lit up, and a few lines of gold text slowly surfaced. The strange thing was, I didn't recognize the characters, yet I understood their meaning. That you have reached this place means you are worthy of becoming a hero. If you wish to become one, travel east and come find me. The gold text flashed 5 times, and a jade pendant, wrapped in golden light, floated in front of me. Name, Hero's Trial Token, SSS. Grade, SSS. Description, immunity to the pressure of any being below SSS rank. A token for the Hero's Trial. Shop buyback price, none. SSS rank. My chest jolted hard. The most precious thing I owned was the Grade SS Fountain of Youth. But this Hero's Trial token was actually a full rank higher. As for the effect though, immunity to pressure from anything below SSS, it felt a little useless somehow, not enough to hold up the SSS name. It seemed the valuable part was its identity as a trial token. This jade tablet is no ordinary thing. Even the worldly Wenji rarely looked this serious. Isn't this just a hero's trial token? I said, surprised. You're a hero. You've seen one before, right? Hero's trial token. Wenji rolled the name around in her mouth, chewing on it, then slowly shook her head. In my view, this hero is not the same as our hero. What do you mean? We're both called heroes, but becoming a hero doesn't require any trial token for us. Grasp a skill, complete a breakthrough, pass the review and certification at the Heroes Association, and you earn the hero's seal. So, I stared at the pendant in my hand. So the hero in this token must be something unique to this particular world. I nodded. I'd already had the answer in my mind. Asking her was just to confirm it once more. That grade SS flowing cloud from before had the word hero in its description too. By the description, a hero gripping it should draw out its stats. But when I had my own heroes hold it, there was no reaction at all. This token is SSSS rank. I looked into Wenji's eyes. SSS. Her pupils visibly shrank. And it's only a trial token. That's why I'm curious just how strong the heroes of this world are. With my left hand, I pulled out the flowing cloud, now holding a hero item in each hand. The sword is SS. The token is SSS. Both ranks far too high. If I rush in to touch this with my current strength, I'm afraid. Wenji thought it over. Since you've obtained the token, my lord, you now have the right to make contact. But everything tied to these heroes is such a high grade. The heroes of this world are very likely stronger than we can imagine. A trial means danger. To be safe, don't rush the attempt until your strength is there. I nodded to myself, accepting her words. Judging by these clues alone, these heroes were probably grade SS beings at a minimum. If I could actually recruit one, the help would be beyond imagining. But greed was no good. A person who can't see themselves clearly and lets greed run wild never comes to a good end. Swish. I put the flowing cloud and the token both away into my lord's space. A few deep breaths, and my mindset settled back into place. Who cares how strong these heroes are? Right now, what matters most is keeping my feet on the ground. I turned my attention back to the group of earth slimes. After some back and forth, probably thanks to the jelly, they were all willing to come with me. That made things easy. The earth slimes, I'd take the whole nest. The stone bed made of earth motherstone spirit, take it. The bookshelves and the table and chairs, that would clearly wasn't ordinary, and leaving it here would be a waste, so take it all. Back in my territory, I'd barely gotten the earth slimes settled when Ellie came to find me. My lord, deputy lord, I worked out a brewing recipe using the fruit from the warehouse, and I'm testing it now. But brewing takes too long. Could I request some funding to speed it up? That way I can find out sooner which recipe is best, so we can decide what to plant in the spirit garden and start mass production. No problem. How much do you need? I agreed at once. Ellie gritted her teeth. 10,000 gold coins. Done. I agreed again. You go ahead and get to work. I'll have Wenji transfer you the gold. Yes, my lord. Ellie left, thrilled. The moment she was gone, Wenji frowned. My lord, 10,000 gold coins is rather. I waved a hand. I know, you think it's too much. But if you want the horse to run, you have to feed it grass. Brewing is our base's first industry, so we have to start it off right. No matter how it turns out later, I'll give it full support. Seeing that I'd made up my mind, Wenji could only agree. Yes, everything as you say, my lord. I shook my head with a smile and headed back to the lord's manor. 10,000 gold coins I didn't have on hand at the moment, so I had to sell off a few things first. Luckily, I wasn't short on goods. A single grade of crimson flame crystal alone was worth 1,300 gold coins. I picked out some ore and lumber and tossed them into the shop for buyback, and the 10,000 gold coins came together, ready to hand over to Wenji. Once that was handled, there was nothing left at the base that needed me. But I didn't stay idle for long. At 4:30 in the afternoon, Ellie came with good news. My lord, come see. The brewing house was packed with nearly 100 big wooden barrels. I followed her in, passing barrel after barrel. Some gave off a scent that was intoxicating, and others made me want to gag the second I smelled them. Ellie didn't turn around, but it was like she could see the look on my face. These barrels all hold wine I brewed from different recipes. A few came out okay, but most weren't great. I nodded to myself. She'd never brewed before and was running entirely on the theory Wenji gave her, so this outcome was well within what I'd expected. Still, from how energized she looked, had she really gotten results? As I was thinking it, she led me to a small table. On it sat 2 bowls, one a reddish brown, one a pale green. My lord, take a look. Ellie was so excited her face had gone red. She pointed at the 2 bowls of liquid. These are the only 2 results left, after I burned through all 10,000 gold coins. Even as loaded as I was, that line caught in my throat. 10,000 gold coins. One gold coin was worth about 10,000 credits back on Earth, so 10,000 gold coins came to 100 million. 100 million spent, and out came two bowls. Talk about burning money. But considering she had no experience, I felt a bit calmer about it. Ellie hadn't caught the twitch on my face. She went on. As for the grades, forgive me for keeping you in suspense. Please have a taste first, my lord. All right. I picked up the reddish-brown bowl first and cautiously took a small sip. My brow lifted. The aroma was clean and sweet. That much aside, it went down smooth. The first taste was faint, just a touch of sweetness. But once I swallowed and let it sit a moment, the sweetness suddenly burst across my mouth and shot through my whole body in a blink. At the same time, a rush of the wine's kick gathered in my core and detonated. I opened my mouth and blew out a big breath, and couldn't help but praise it. Good wine. It was sweet, no doubt, but the sweetness wasn't cloying. Even someone like me who doesn't care for sweet things wasn't the least bit bothered and actually enjoyed it. On top of that, the sweetness and the kick bursting all at once took the experience to another level. I was about to keep commenting when a surge of strength welled up in me. I knew this feeling. I pulled up my stats panel right away and saw exactly what was going on. My strength stat had temporarily gone up by 5 points. I was thrilled. There was plenty of fine wine on Earth, but wine that left you with a buff after drinking it? This was the only case I'd ever come across. Ellie chimed in at just the right moment. You must have felt it, my lord. After you drink this, your strength goes up for half an hour. Are you satisfied? Satisfied. More than satisfied. I laughed out loud. What's 10,000 gold coins? What's 100 million? If it got results, it was worth it. 5 points of strength didn't sound like much, but the value was in how easily it came. A wine like this, I refused to believe it wouldn't fetch a price. Selling it to the shop would be playing the sucker. Its real market was the auction house, trading with other lords. Speaking of the auction house, that had me puzzled. By rights, it should have opened the moment the survival period ended, but there'd been no sign of it, and I had no idea why. Since you're satisfied, my lord, could you give it a name? Ellie looked at me expectantly. A name? My face stiffened. I knew I was hopeless at naming things, and being asked to do it put me in a tough spot. I threw a glance at Wenji, but she just smiled and said, "This is the base's very first wine. By any measure, you should be the one to name it yourself, my lord." Fine. I gritted my teeth and went for it. The flavor is clean and sweet, but the kick is no weaker than hard liquor, like a woman who's fierce and strong, skilled with both pen and sword. Why don't we call it heroin? How's that? Heroin. Wenji lightly tapped her palm with her folding fan. A fine name. Just hearing it makes me want to taste myself. I let out a long breath. Coming up with that name burned off more than half my brain cells, but at least Wenji approved, so I hadn't embarrassed myself. Right then. Congratulations, you have successfully named the first product in your territory. Notice, Lord Zhou Yun has successfully developed the first territory product, and the auction house function is now open. Notice, Lord Zhou Yun has successfully developed the first territory product, and the auction house function is now open. Notice, Lord Zhou Yun has successfully developed the first territory product, and the auction house function is now open. Only I could hear the first line. The 3 repeated ones after it were an announcement broadcast to the entire circle of lords. Never mind the commotion the announcement stirred up among the lords, I was thrilled myself. The first wine was done, and the auction house was open. Double the joy. It was also right after this, probably because I'd successfully named it, that when I cast inspect on heroin again, I could finally read its full stats. Name, heroin. Category, wine. Grade C. Effect, after drinking, strength stat increases by 5 points. Lasts 30 minutes. Shop buyback price, 20 gold coins. So it's grade C. No wonder. I looked at the other bowl. If heroin is grade C, then this one should be. While I was thinking it, Ellie had already lifted the bowl of green wine. Please have a taste, my lord. I took it with both hands and, as before, smelled it first. A flicker of surprise crossed my eyes. Unlike heroin, this bowl had no trace of liquor smell, only a pure floral, herbal fragrance. Just breathing it in cleared my head and made my whole body feel lighter. I took a small sip and grew even more amazed. The flavor was so distinct, like flower nectar mixed with just the right amount of mint, not something a single word like sweet could sum up. The feeling was like standing in the fullest sea of flowers in early spring, a spring breeze on my face, refreshed to the core. The wine's kick in my core was gentle too, wave after wave, slowly pushing along, warming my whole body. That warmth was like a mother's gentle hand, able to soothe away every hurt. That's soothing. That was the first thing I said after tasting it. It didn't have heroine's fire, but the aftertaste lingered far longer. One sip and I wanted another, and another. By the time I came back to myself, the bowl was empty. Good wine. I heaped on the praise again without holding back. This one, no question, is called Spring Breeze. Spring Breeze. Ellie broke into a wide smile. Thank you for the name, my lord. Wenji gave a faint smile too. Clearly, she found the name fitting as well. Congratulations, you have successfully named the first product in your territory. The moment the naming was done, I couldn't wait to check Spring Breeze's stats. In my mind, this wine was absolutely a cut above heroin. Name, Spring Breeze. Category, wine. Grade A. Effect, after drinking, removes all negative effects of grade A or lower. Shop buyback price, 1,000 gold coins per 3.5 ounces. It was actually a grade A wine. I'd had a bit of a hunch beforehand, but the results still went past what I'd expected. On Earth, grade B items were already a rarity, treated as a graduation benchmark by ordinary lords. Grade A was an even bigger hurdle, splitting ordinary lords and top-tier lords into two camps. Grade B goods, lords could more or less reach. But at grade A, an ordinary lord would struggle just to lay eyes on one, and even if they did, they had no means to own it. It was just like those few grade A items in the merit shop, few in number, high in price, and completely out of reach for ordinary lords. So where Spring Breeze ranked in my own territory was still hard to say, but on Earth, it would stand firmly at the very tip of the pyramid. The effect lived up to that status. Removes all negative effects of grade A or lower. Those words, negative effects, covered an awfully wide range. Bleeding, poison, weakness, all of it fell under that umbrella. For lords to have led humanity this far, they naturally didn't lack means to remove negative effects. But low-grade methods couldn't clear high-grade effects, and that was exactly where grade A Spring Breeze became valuable. As long as you didn't run into a grade S negative effect, it was practically the universal answer in this area. How's the output on Spring Breeze and heroin? I asked. Heroin needs 8 kinds of grade C fruit, and they're all over the area around the base, with a short yield cycle, so it can be produced in bulk, Ellie answered. But Spring Breeze needs 14 kinds of fruit, and 6 of them are grade B. Those aren't common within the base's range, and the growth cycle is long, so we can't supply much of it in the short term. Specifically, I pressed, figuring one bottle at about a pint. How much of each wine can we produce within a month? That would be. Ellie lowered her eyes to figure it in her head. Without using gold coins to speed things up, Spring Breeze would be about 10 bottles. Heroin, 200 bottles. Not ideal. Wenji gave a light shake of her head. The heat in my chest cooled by half too. I saw it the same way. Never mind Spring Breeze's 10 bottles a month. Even heroin's 200 bottles really couldn't be called ideal. What about speeding it up with gold coins? I asked again. Grade A goods like Spring Breeze, even sold to the shop, a single pint bottle could bring in 500 gold coins. Using gold coins to speed things up was a luxury, but if the return was big enough, it wasn't out of the question. Ellie looked troubled. The longer the speed up, the more the gold coin cost multiplies. The math gets too complicated, and I haven't worked it out. Now it was Wenji's turn to show what she could do. She tapped her palm with her folding fan in a steady rhythm. Going by the current output of the spirit plants and spirit fruit, plus the brewing labor the base can spare. Put in 10,000 gold coins in a single month, and we can produce 30 bottles of Spring Breeze and 1,000 bottles of heroin for the greatest short-term return. Ellie was completely won over. As expected of Lady Wenji. Wenji gave her fan a light wave. Everyone has their specialty, that's all. 30 bottles of Spring Breeze, 1,000 bottles of heroin. I nodded to myself. That way the Hero Tavern is self-sufficient, with some left over to sell abroad. Let's do it. The Circle of Lords. Having an auction house is so convenient. I was just short a few pieces of ore, and it got sorted right away. If it had opened 2 days earlier, I wouldn't have been stuck dragging it out until today to gather my upgrade materials. No earlier than this. Didn't you read the notice? The auction house only opened because Brother Yin developed a territory product. Speaking of which, isn't Brother Yin developing awfully fast? He's already got a territory product. With strength like his, it's normal. What I'm more curious about is what exactly he developed. Usually people start with wood and stone crafts, right? Those are the easiest to get into. Brother Yin hasn't said a word, so who knows? At Wang Long, come on, cut the price on your 5-leaf clover, miss. I really want it. 1 gold coin work. Bartering. Grade C monster egg for anything. Now listed. Whoa, buddy, are you insane? You're putting up a grade C monster egg to trade. No way to hatch it. so I'd rather swap it for some resources I can use. I searched and couldn't find it. I tagged it at 100 gold coins. Sort by price high to low, and you'll see it. Question marks. After sorting, I saw the wine Brother Yun listed. Where? Sort high to low. It's the first two items. Heroin. Spring Breeze. Holy cow. One grade C and one grade A. Grade C I can get, but grade A? Is he even human? So expensive. Heroin is 20 gold coins a bottle. Spring Breeze is 5,000. 5,000 gold coins, that's 50 million. Just kill me. Can't afford it. Expensive? Instead of crying about the price, why not ask yourself if you just didn't work hard enough? 10,000 gold coins a bottle for Spring Breeze. I'll take it. If it actually sells, forget I said anything. Heroin gives a stat boost. 20 gold coins is a great deal. You don't say? The shop buyback price is 20 gold coins too. Brother Yun never intended to make a profit off us. Spring Breeze is sold at the buyback price too. Brother Yun really looks out for us. Woohoo. I'm just too useless. Can't afford it even at this price. Question marks. I just refreshed and heroin's gone. Is this a bug? Same here. I just scraped enough together to buy it. A big shot. You could actually afford it. Sorry, everyone, pardon me. I'm taking this bottle of heroin. Question marks. Come on, man. Shame Spring Breeze is way beyond my means. But no matter, let me head back to Earth first. Question marks. Go back to Earth for what? Earth, the great Han nation, the capital. Hifugaway stepped out of the portal and walked right into his family having lunch. Dad, Mom, I'm back. Look what I brought. Oh, how come you're back today? Isn't there still time before the frontline offensive? The two elders were startled. It's all because of this. Hifugaway pulled heroin out of his lord's space and set it on the table. This is a grade C fine wine, heroin. Drink it, and you get 5 stat points for half an hour. Hifugaway grinned. Not bad. Surprise flickered in the middle-aged man's eyes. How'd you get it? Bought it. Hifugaway smiled and held up 2 fingers. 20 gold coins. Good boy. The middle-aged man smiled too. With a stat boost like that, it'd easily sell for 300,000. That's my son all right. Making 100,000 without breaking a sweat. Hifugaway shook his head. Don't tease me. 100,000. How would that even catch your eye? Bringing out this bottle is just casting a brick to draw jade. Oh, my good son's got even bigger business. The middle-aged man feigned surprise. It's all right, I guess. Hifugaway sat down, grabbed a shrimp on his own, and tossed it in his mouth. Just dealing a little with a lord who can produce grade of fine wine. That's all. A lord who produces grade of fine wine. The middle-aged man's gaze went suddenly sharp, a hint of a smile at the corner of his mouth. You can reach a lord like that? You're not fooling your old man. Zhou Yun. Heard of him? Hifugaway mentioned it offhand. The one who edged out that rookie king Su Qingxue? He's in your circle? Yeah, that's him. Plenty of potential, but he's still a rookie lord at the end of the day. He can produce grade of fine wine. The auction opened just today. 1 grade A bottle and 1 grade C bottle, both produced in his territory. It says so right in the descriptions. This bottle you brought is one of them. Yep. Couldn't afford the other one, 5,000 gold coins. Way too pricey. 5,000 gold coins is pricey. The middle-aged man blurted it out on reflex, then looked up and met Hifugaway's teasing eyes, and burst out laughing. Good boy, you were waiting to make a fool of your old man, weren't you? Wouldn't dare. Hifugaway quit while he was ahead. It's just that the second a big deal came up, I thought of my own dad, so I rushed straight home. I'll grant you're a devoted son. The middle-aged man tilted his head up slightly and gave a smug little snort through his nose. Hifugaway dragged a chair over next to him. So if this pipeline really gets built, what cut do I get? The moment business came up, the middle-aged man's tone turned serious at once. Grade A items start at 70 million apiece. My family isn't weak, but it depends on the actual output. If the volume climbs, our family alone might not be able to swallow it all. Hifugaway gave a wry smile. I really don't know the output. I'm not even on his friends list. The middle-aged man neither agreed nor disagreed. Whether you know or not, if you're going to talk business, you have to be fully prepared. Hifugaway slumped all over. Come on. So in the end, we still have to partner up with other families. The worst thing in business is trying to eat alone. The middle-aged man cursed with a laugh. Without enough strength behind you, aren't you afraid of choking yourself to death? Besides, if you could come back early, so can others. We're definitely not the only ones who know about this right now. All right, since you're back, get some good rest. I'm heading out. What about lunch? Hifugaway blinked. Didn't you just eat? I'm full. The middle-aged man waved a hand and strode off. Hifugaway was glad to take it easy. He knew his old man's strength inside and out. With his father on the case, he just had to sit back and wait to split the money. What he didn't know was that things were unfolding exactly as his father predicted. In under half an hour, word that Zhou Yun's territory produced grade a fine wine spread, as if it had wings, to every powerful family in the Great Han Nation. Anyone who passes up money to be made is a fool. Lords grow on resources, and resources, at the end of the day, are money. Put another way, money is a fist, money is strength. As long as you have money, even with a garbage territory, you can pile it up and stack together a minor expert. The Su family in the capital. The moment Gu Mingru, Su Qingshua's mother, got the news, she shot up off the sofa. He can produce grade A resources in such a short time? This young man Zhou Yun is really something. Grade A resource output is generally low. If he can produce it steadily, even a small amount, it'd be enough to have all the great families fighting each other bloody over it. Shame he and Qingxue don't get along otherwise. Ring, ring, ring. The landline suddenly rang. Her body jolted. She hurried over, smoothed her appearance, and only then lifted the receiver. Hello. Haha. Is that little Gu? Can you tell who I am? Of course, Uncle Lu. Gu Mingru answered with a smile, but her heart sank halfway. Only a handful of people knew her family's landline number. Lu Hansheng, the Great Han Nation's quartermaster general, was one of them. For him to call at a moment like this, his purpose went without saying. Time's tight, so I won't make small talk with you. That grade A fine wine produced in Zhou Yun's territory, you Su family needn't concern yourselves with it. What do you mean, Uncle Lu? I don't follow. Haha. Still playing dumb with your uncle? Then let me spell it out. This wine called Spring Breeze very likely can remove the calamity aura from those infected by calamity beasts. Understood. Gu Mingru's tone turned obedient at once. One thing was one thing. On pure commercial value, even the state had no reason to hold other families back. But the moment calamity aura entered the picture, everything changed. Calamity aura was the innate breath of calamity beasts, formless and intangible. The stronger the calamity beast, the thicker its aura. This thing benefited calamity beasts, but to lords and ordinary people, it was a great scourge. The most direct effect was that it cut your lifespan. Every frontline lord in the world suffered under it. In the struggle against calamity beasts, whether they could win aside, even if they did win, they were staking their very lives on it. Generation after generation, wave after wave, so many brilliant, dazzling lords fell not in head-on clashes with calamity beasts, but from having their lifespans ground away by calamity aura, dying in helpless, brooding sorrow. If not for that, the various nations wouldn't be facing a crisis of a strength gap among their lords these days. Even in an established power like the Great Han Nation, its current strongest pillar-tier lord, Xiang Bei, was nearly at the end of his life despite the nation sparing no effort to protect him. And right at this moment, out popped a grade A fine wine that removes all negative effects. Even without knowing its exact potency, how could they let it just be a money-making trinket? One move from the state, and you know how it stands. In just a few minutes, every family in the Great Han Nation with the strength to compete lowered their banners and silenced their drums. Money mattered, but the greater good mattered more. Only with the greater whole could there be individual homes. On top of that, this spring breeze very likely could remove calamity aura, and that was astonishing. Never mind very likely, even a slight chance, and they wouldn't dare fight for it. It was too hot to handle. Every lord in the world was tormented half to death by calamity aura. When a sliver of hope finally appeared, who would dare hog it? Hog it and you'd instantly become the whole world's enemy, torn to pieces in a heartbeat. By any measure, all the great families made their stance clear. They would defer entirely to the state's instructions. By this point, things should have been called quite ideal. But you can't wrap fire in paper. Somehow the news leaked, and the conclusion that the newly produced spring breeze very likely removed calamity aura ended up posted online. The lords of the Great Han Nation couldn't sit still for a second. Is it true? Is the source reliable? Where's the wine? Where is it? Has anyone tried it? Did it work? Woo-hoo. If it really works, my dad can be saved. Looking for a supplier, buying at a high price. Real deal, money's no object. No need to rush like this. The effect hasn't even been verified. We have to rush. What if it's real? Any idiot can tell this wine definitely won't make it down to us. Exactly. Even a 1 in 10,000 chance, we have to gamble on it. Over the next few minutes, the news spread at a jaw-dropping rate. Every big group and every circle was talking about it. The Great Han Nation's Cyber Information Department stepped in to control it right away. But it was a step too late. The news spread overseas. Now it was really out of hand. It reached the Kimchi Nation first, and the kimchi nation blew up. There's a thing like this? A wine like this? It's fake, right? How is that possible? The effect is way too ridiculous. What if it's real? Would the Great Han nation share it with us? Naive. They have way more lords than we do. They don't have enough for themselves. So what do? We want it too. The Great Han nation can't just hog it all, right? We don't have the power. Post it on YouTube. Let the whole world know. Great idea. So the headline, "The Great Han Nation has obtained a fine wine that removes calamity aura," went up fresh on YouTube. The moment the video dropped, the view count shot up fast, and it soon hit the front page. The whole world knew. What's going on? Calamity aura can be removed now. Our nation's pillar tier general can be saved. Oh my God. Unbelievable. The Great Han Nation. I'm going to the Great Han Nation. Right now? This instant. The Lord's spirits rocketed straight to the peak, and ordinary people were happy along with them. Lords held back the calamity beasts, and it was only under the Lord's protection that the people had stable lives. Once the Lord's calamity aura problem was solved, the people naturally felt at ease. But this topic was never going to stay contained to the circle of lords and common folk. The moment the leaders of various nations saw that eye-catching video on YouTube's front page, they couldn't sit still either. The Great Han Nation made a breakthrough like this, so why weren't we the first to hear about it? Are they guarding against us? What happened to the Anti-Calamity Beast Coalition? Is it appropriate for the Great Han Nation to act like this? Their lords' lives are lives, and our lords' lives aren't. Over the next 10 minutes, the foreign ministry's phones were blown up. The Great Han Nation's foreign ministry was reeling. The quartermaster ministry was reeling. The cybersecurity ministry was reeling on top of reeling. What is this? How long had it even been? And the whole world already knew. They'd anticipated the news might leak and deployed measures in time, but it just spread too fast. They'd suppressed 99.9999% of it. It was that 0.00001%, that one single message, that one message they failed to block, and things turned out like this. It's all my fault. Even so, the saying that 3 men make a tiger was carried out far too thoroughly in this case. The Great Han Nation's assessment had always been very likely removes calamity aura. Not able to remove, and certainly not what the foreign leaders were demanding to know, has long possessed the means to remove calamity aura. Nothing to be done. The incident happened today, so it had to be dealt with. Today was destined to be anything but peaceful. And at this moment, Zhou Yun was in his territory, completely unaware of this mess back on Earth. There were 4 days left until the front-line offensive on Earth. I hadn't planned to go back before it started. Teleporting had a 24-hour cooldown, so I couldn't use it carelessly. Right now I was mulling something over. Earth slimes that reached level 20 had a chance to grasp Earth element construction. So what about water slimes? Ice ones? Fire and lightning ones? Wouldn't they also be able to grasp water element construction, ice element construction, fire element construction, and lightning element construction? Water element construction could open up artificial rivers and lakes. Ice element construction could make ice sculptures, or just make ice blocks for cooling and cold drinks. Fire element construction could at least serve as the forge fire for a blacksmith shop. Lightning element construction was the most practical of all. It could generate electricity outright. The more I thought about it, the more excited I got. Slimes were great. Slimes were seriously useful. But for now, these were only guesses. I had to put them into practice to confirm them. I called over the leaders of the 4 elemental slimes, Big Fire, Big Water, Big Lightning, and Big Ice, and gave them their one and only task for the near term. Level up. With leveling up as the goal, they could eat the warehouse's energy jelly freely, and the Earth Motherstone Spirit would be open only to them during this period. The 4 slimes took the task and were so happy they bounced sky high. They were the weakest ones at the base. Whatever work needed doing, the other residents never brought them along, figuring they'd be no help. When the heroes chose their exclusive troop types, they weren't picked either. Huishu chose the gold-gnawing rats, Ellie chose the cauliflower beasts, and Wuji and Wenji hadn't decided yet, but being higher level, they would never pick slimes. As a result, even their path to getting stronger was cut off. They served under the same lord, yet everyone else had things to do and was growing stronger, while they alone stayed in place, contributing nothing, and it weighed on them badly. Now things were good. The Lord had opened the Earth Motherstone Spirit bed to them, and given them energy jelly too. This way they could grow stronger, be of use, and help their Lord. Even more important, I had said it with my own mouth. This was a task. Completing the task meant contributing to the base. The feeling was fantastic. Squee, 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 squee. The 4 slimes solemnly accepted the task and hopped away. There's still half a day. Sitting around's a waste, so I'll take a trip south and check out the third Thunder Tower. After a moment's thought, I stood up to head out. But the second I pushed the door open, the unexpected happened. Drops of rain fell from the sky, smacking round little marks into the ground. It's raining. I blinked. Since I'd come to this planet, it had been sunny the whole time. Even a moment ago, when I'd just gotten back and entered the Lord's manor, the sky had been perfectly fine. How did it start pouring out of nowhere? I looked up at the sky, curious, and found that the sky, which had only been dimming a moment ago, was rapidly turning black. That's right, turning black. White clouds turned gray clouds turned black, changing color and swelling nonstop all at once. Soon the whole sky was black as ink. I instinctively sensed something was off. This sky was nothing like the setup for a light rain. The thought had barely formed. Boom. Dozens of bolts of thunder crashed down at once. The world flashed bright as day. A dozen some trees not far from the base were struck and burst into flames. Right after, bean-sized raindrops pelted down in dense sheets. Stop work, get back to the residences, and take shelter. I rushed out of the Lord's manor at once and gave the order to the residents still at their labor. Ooh, Bear 1, hauling lumber, let out a reluctant whimper. A little longer and it, Bear 2, and Bear 3 could have finished upgrading the training ground. Stop working, get back and take shelter now. I stepped forward twice, raising my voice louder. By now the rain had soaked me through, and it was nearly drowning out my own voice. Ooh. Only then did Bear 1 set down the lumber and run for home. Over on the other side, Wenji was also directing everyone in the rain to stop work and take shelter. Anyone else? Did we miss anyone? I raised my left arm over my head and shouted at Wenji. In just that short span, the rain had gotten heavier. I just went by the mine and the fishery. The Meru clan has a barrier protecting them, so they're fine too. Wenji's words put me a little at ease. Achoo. Back inside the Lord's manor, I couldn't hold back a sneeze. This rain was freezing in an unnatural way, feeling like it was around zero. With my current constitution, even getting rained on for that short while had me feeling off. But I had no time for that right now. I'd heard some alarming sounds. I pushed open the wooden window, and through the heavy curtain of rain, my fear came true. A lot of the buildings at the base were creaking and groaning under the pounding of the downpour. Though these buildings were built from grade F lumber, ordinary heavy rain couldn't hurt them. But this was different. The raindrops, bean-sized a moment ago, were already the size of eggs in the blink of an eye. Every one that struck a building was like taking a hit from an egg-sized ball of water. This can't go on. In no time at all, the buildings were already having trouble, and there was no telling whether the rain would get even heavier. If it kept growing, the base's buildings might well be destroyed clean in this one storm. Without buildings to shelter them, the residents' safety would hang in the balance. What to do? The nearest cave was half an hour on foot from the base. I clenched my fists, frantic, my mind racing. Swish. Wenji's figure suddenly appeared inside the manor. My lord, let's move the Meru clan's barrier over here. Of two evils, choose the lesser. The Meru clan's buildings are relatively easy to rebuild, but if the base's buildings are destroyed. The words had barely left her when the half-transparent teleport beacon in the center of the base lit up. Hongya and Hongzhuang appeared at the base leading a group of the Meru clan. The moment Hongya touched down, she pressed the barrier stone in her hand to the ground. An invisible barrier slowly unfurled, pushing the rain back inch by inch, and soon it covered the entire base. The violent raindrops crashed against the barrier with a roar, but inside it the base returned to calm. Why did you all come? I hurried out to meet them. You brought the barrier, but what about your village? Hongya smiled gently. The village can be rebuilt, but this is where you live, my lord. There absolutely cannot be any mishap here. And we've already brought the most important thing we have. Look, Hongxiu and the clan's people held up the big radishes cradled in their arms. My heart warmed, and my nose stung a little. The Meru clan's village looked unremarkable, with no standout buildings, yet it was steeped in history. It was their home, their clan grounds, the land of their ancestors. But now, to protect the base, they hadn't said a word before moving over the barrier that guarded that ancestral land. My lord, this rain came on suddenly. It's a flash-freeze storm, which happens very rarely. Hongya's smile faded. This kind of rain is only rain at first, but after continuing for about a day, it turns into hail, and its destructive power climbs another notch. And that's not even the most troublesome part. A flash-freeze storm is destructive, but it also holds an extremely strong life force. So it's very likely to draw powerful ice-type creatures to come and bathe in this gift of nature. For instance, the three-legged ice phoenix. The three-legged ice phoenix. Wenji, always so composed, twitched her right hand, and her folding fan clattered to the floor. What's wrong? I was taken aback. This was the first time I'd seen Wenji lose her composure like this. The three-legged ice phoenix is a quadruple S monster. Wenji's voice had gone a bit dry. What? My heart seized up. I still didn't even know whether I could handle the grade S void thunder-devouring beast. And now she was saying a quadruple S1 was coming? Was this a death wish? You have to understand, as strong as the Crimson Flame Dragon and the Blazing Sunbird were, their grade was only triple S. The three-legged ice phoenix, quadruple S, what kind of concept was that? One flap of its wings, and the whole base was probably gone. No, wait. I suddenly caught on and looked at Hongya. If the three-legged ice phoenix is a quadruple S monster, then how did you all? Before I finished, Hongya had already grasped my meaning. She smiled. Don't worry too much, my lord. Over the past 10 years, we've dealt with the three-legged ice phoenix 3 times. As strong as it is, it has never once harmed us. Is that so? Hearing her say that, I let out a small breath of relief. But Wenji promptly raised a doubt. According to records, the three-legged ice phoenix's temperament is indeed relatively gentle, and it rarely attacks unprovoked. But an existence this powerful, even if it doesn't make a move and only moves about nearby, the frost force it carries is not something just any creature can withstand. You're well read, Deputy Lord. The truth is exactly so. Hongya affirmed Wenji's words and went on. The three-legged ice phoenix has never moved against us Meru clan, but its astonishing frost force, its mere presence, was hard for us to endure. However, as long as we give it the food it loves, it will actively reign in its frost force. That way, though the frost force is still formidable, we can just barely hold on. Food it loves? Wenji was puzzled. Doesn't the three-legged ice phoenix feed on the natural world's frost force? How could that be provided? Hongya smiled. You misunderstand, Deputy Lord. The food, isn't frost force, but our Meru clan's home cooking. Home cooking? Wenji and I said it at the same time. Yes. Hongya took on a reminiscent look. The first time we ran into the three-legged ice phoenix, the whole clan thought it was the end of the world. Even worse, it broke straight through the barrier and entered our clan grounds. Just as we'd resolved to fight to the death, it merely burrowed into a small hut and ate every dish on the table clean. After that, throughout the days the flash freeze storm lasted, it kept absorbing the frost force in the rain, but every day it would come to the village to eat a meal of the clan's cooking. And that kept the peace? Wenji was astonished. Yes. Hongya nodded firmly. As long as we give it home cooking, there's no trouble. Then what about the ingredients for the home cooking? Wenji asked again. We brought them. Hongxiu patted the big radish in her arms. Last time there weren't enough big radishes, and Sister Ice Phoenix didn't seem to eat her fill. This time we can definitely let her eat all she wants. Hongya added, the big radish is the main ingredient, and we brought the other supporting ingredients along too. Rest assured, Lady Wenji. If we can avoid an attack just with this, then that would be wonderful. Wenji nodded slightly, but her expression remained grave. Reason told her this method wasn't reliable, but in the face of overwhelming power, she truly couldn't think of another way to keep the base safe. The downpour still went on. The raindrops were already the size of basketballs. Even through the barrier, you could feel how terrifying this storm was. As the storm pressed on, the temperature plunged sharply too. I pulled out a thermometer, and it already read -14 degrees. Hongya reminded me, my lord, a flash freeze storm lasts at least a week. We have to keep feeding energy into the barrier. I nodded. Maintaining the barrier naturally required energy, especially withstanding the impact of a flash freeze storm, which drained it enormously. Fortunately, the Meru clan star barrier was an attribute-less barrier, so both attribute and attribute-less could power it. Thanks to Old Gold and the others working hard this stretch, my ore reserves were fairly substantial. I piled the ore next to the barrier stone, which solved the power supply for now. But then another problem came up. The star barrier only blocked attacks, not the dropping temperature. As the temperature kept falling, a lot of the residents at the base started shivering. Squee. Big Fire hopped in front of me, patted its little limbs, and volunteered itself. Then it directed the fire-type slimes to spread out in order and gather fire element together. Squee. They strained with all their might. Invisible firelight immediately sprang up around them, with the local temperature starting to climb back up. Ooh. CHK. Cha-cha. The moment the dark earth bears, the gold-gnawing rats, and the cauliflower beasts saw the firelight, they instinctively gathered around. The warmth of the fire element clearly made them much more comfortable. Haha. Hushu wasn't about to fall behind either. With a clang, he brought his heavy hammer down, and the blacksmith shop's forge fire leapt high, adding a bit more warmth to the base. "Let me take my clan's people and cook up some big radish soup for everyone," Hongya offered. "In past flash freeze storms, this is how we got through it." "I'll help too." Ellie raised her hand along with them. As the manager of the botanical garden and the head of the brewing house, she wasn't content to just watch from the side. I nodded with a smile. The flash freeze storm had come suddenly, but fortunately the base's residents and heroes were of one mind. This kind of atmosphere put me very much at ease. Just as I was thinking it, a gust of wind blew through and made me shudder. No good, no good. I need to eat something hot to warm up too. Hugging my arms, I hurried off toward the cafeteria with Hongya and Ellie. On this trip back to the territory, I brought a fair amount of supplies, wanting to see if there was anything like the energy jelly that could have a miraculous effect on some kind of monster. Among them was quite a bit of meat and vegetables from Earth. With one thing after another coming up before, I'd forgotten all about the testing. Now that it was this cold, making everyone keep working would be truly inhumane. Since work had stopped anyway, I might as well use the ingredients I brought to make everyone something good to eat. Call it a small token of thanks from me, the Lord, to the residents. Children of poor families grow up early. As the eldest son, I had a fair bit of confidence in my cooking. I couldn't match a professional chef, of course, but making home-style dishes was second nature to me. By the time I reached the cafeteria's back kitchen, Hongya, Hongzhuang, Hongxiu, and Ellie were already hard at work. I went off alone to the other end and pulled ingredients out of my lord's space. Pork belly, beef brisket, tomatoes, potatoes, twist peppers. "You can cook too, my lord." Wenji had sidled up beside me at some point and looked surprised at the ingredients laid out one by one on the cutting board. "Well enough. Give my cooking a taste in a bit," I said with a smile. Wenji looked expectant. "With you manning the stove yourself, my lord, I simply must have a good taste." "Me too." Wuji's voice suddenly sounded from a corner of the back kitchen. I turned my head to glance at her, rather surprised. I hadn't expected this swordswoman, who usually seemed indifferent to everything, to be so interested in food. All right. I rolled up my sleeves, getting into it. As an old hand, I turned out dishes fast. In under 3 minutes, a steaming plate of hot and sour shredded potato was out of the pan. "Here, give it a try." Crisp but not hard, tender but not mushy, sour and spicy in just the right balance. "Delicious." Wenji gave it the highest praise after just one bite. That left me a little bashful. Right after, Wuji followed suit, picking up a chopstick's worth and putting it in her mouth. Her throat bobbed, and she spat out 2 words. "Good. More." I smiled. "If you like it, eat it while it's hot. It's no good once it goes cold." Wenji and Wuji both picked up their chopsticks again in unison. "What is it? What is it?" The curious Hongxiu ran over, her little nose twitching, and her eyes went wide at once. "What's this food? It smells so good, so good." "Here, have a taste." Wenji stepped aside to let Hongxiu try it. One bite down, and Hongxiu stuck out her little tongue, fanning it over and over. So spicy, but so yummy. I want more." "Ha ha ha." I couldn't help laughing. "Hongxiu, don't bother the Lord." Hongzhuang strode over, looking like she meant to drag Hongxiu away. But the moment she got close, she too was instantly hooked by the hot and sour shredded potatoes' distinctive aroma. "Huh? This dish?" She barely formed the question when Hongxiu rose up on her tiptoes and offered her a chopstickful. Before Hongzhuang could voice any displeasure, she was captured by the flavor on her lips and tongue, chewing a couple of times without meaning to. Then, much like Hongxiu, she said, "Wow, so spicy. But why do I still want more?" I couldn't hold back a laugh again. Hot and sour shredded potato, as the name suggests, has both sour and spicy, but I'd actually only put in 1 small Thai chili, so the heat was limited. At least Wenji and Wuji hadn't reacted much. Hongxiu and Hongzhuang, on the other hand, were reacting a bit too dramatically. Could it be that the Meru clan was especially sensitive to spice? A plate of shredded potato wasn't much. Split among several people, it was polished off before long. Not only was the shredded potato gone, even the green and red pepper strips and Thai chili that came as garnish were cleaned out. By now I'd already started on the second dish. "My lord, this time you're not making hot and sour shredded potato." Wenji watched longingly from the side, a trace of disappointment in her tone. Hongxiu licked her lips. "What dish are you making this time? Will it be tastier than the hot and sour shredded potato?" Still eating, Hongzhuang tugged Hongxiu back. "I brought you here to work, not to eat." I gave a small smile and carried on with what I was doing. This time I was making sweet and sour pork tenderloin, another of my signature dishes. Cut the meat, marinate it, coat it in batter, deep fry it. and at that step, golden tenderloin chunks came out. I turned my head to go make the sauce, only to find Wenji and Wuji flanking me on left and right, sandwiching me in the middle, their eyes locked on the golden tenderloin on the wooden plate. It's not done yet. Wait a bit longer, almost there. I nudged Wuji aside and went on making the sweet and sour sauce. Hearing me say that, they both visibly swallowed, but at least they didn't act rashly. Making the sauce didn't take much time. Once the sweet and sour sauce was done, I poured in the tenderloin chunks, tossed the pan to coat them evenly, and a plate of glossy, bright red sweet and sour pork tenderloin was ready. Wow, so pretty. It looks so yummy. Hongxiu had sidled up again at some point, her cute little face nearly pressed to the plate, all but sticking her tongue out at it. Give it a try. I smiled. As a cook, even a temporary one, you love seeing diners' anticipation for a dish and their satisfaction after eating it. Wenji took a small, delicate bite, then nodded firmly. Crispy outside, tender inside, sweet and sour and delicious, thoroughly flavorful. Absolutely top grade. While she was talking, Wuji had already downed 2 pieces and her chopsticks were reaching for a third. Hongxiu had finally gotten her first piece too. Greedy as she was, she clearly knew her manners, waiting for Wenji and Wuji to taste first before picking up her chopsticks. She popped a whole piece of sweet and sour pork into her mouth, and her big eyes instantly curved into 2 crescent moons. So yummy. I laughed out loud. Sweet and sour pork tenderloin was my signature dish, so the quality was guaranteed. But Hongxiu's reaction still struck me as a bit over the top. Xiao. Hongzhuang came storming back over. Clearly, Hongxiu slipping off again had made her a little angry. Right at that moment, bang bang bang, a dense, heavy pounding sound came from outside. Hongzhuang's expression shifted slightly. My lord, the flash-freeze storm has entered its second stage. Second stage? I walked to the window and pushed it open. Sure enough, what had been falling from the sky before was rain, but now it had turned to ice. Fist-sized chunks of ice bombarded the base in overwhelming waves, which was the source of that sound just now. The commotion clearly left the residents deeply uneasy, and they all gathered toward the cafeteria where I was, seeking a sense of safety. Hongya came over to my side just then and reminded me, "My lord, the flash-freeze storm entering its second stage means the 3-legged ice phoenix's arrival isn't far off." As she spoke, a resounding phoenix cry pierced through the storm, through the barrier, and reached everyone's ears. "Cree, it's her." Hongya confirmed at once. "She's coming this early this time?" Hongzhuang, though, was quite surprised. "Where?" I looked around for a good while, but couldn't find the 3-legged ice phoenix at all. "Over there." Hongya pointed to the northwest sky. Following the direction she pointed, I still didn't see it. Not until, after staring for several seconds, I faintly made out an abrupt little blue through the dense hail. The little blue dust swelled rapidly, soon arriving over the base, about the size of a farmyard hen. "That's her." A bit unsure, I asked again. "That's her." Hongya affirmed once more. "Quite the pint-sized thing." I twitched the corner of my mouth and offered that assessment. You couldn't blame me for thinking so. It was just that the 3-legged ice phoenix before me was so tiny compared to the crimson flame dragon and the blazing sunbird. It had none of the oppressive presence of a quadruple S monster. Not just in size, it didn't give off even a shred of imposing aura. Not until I threw out an inspect. Name, 3-legged ice phoenix. Status, in the wild. Category, monster. Grade, quadruple S. Level, strength, endurance, wisdom, spirit, speed, talent, skill. Description, proud daughter of the cold abyss and the frost heavens, the pure and peerless 3-legged frost crystal ice phoenix. Aloof and lofty, she never deigns to bully the weak, unless a living being willingly offends her frost bloom majesty. All right, another existence with a panel full of question marks. Fortunately, the description made clear that the 3-legged ice phoenix wouldn't move against the weak unprovoked. That fit well with what Hongya had said. Cree. The 3-legged ice phoenix gave a clear cry and spread its wings, and the hail crashing down over the base instantly shattered, turning into specks of blue light that spiraled and gathered toward it. Soon these blue lights condensed into an ice-blue vortex. The dark clouds in the sky seemed to become an energy injector, ceaselessly feeding power to the 3-legged ice phoenix at the vortex's center. Watching this scene, my mouth fell open without my meaning it to. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The blazing sunbird and the crimson flame dragon were already strong enough in my eyes, but the 3-legged ice phoenix before me was stronger than those two by far more than a notch. As time went on, The ice-blue vortex expanded rapidly, seeming about to link heaven and earth. This was feeding on heaven and earth themselves. No wonder Wenji had been so startled at just the 4 words, three-legged ice phoenix, that her folding fan dropped from her hand. If an existence like this bore us any malice, all resistance would be futile. The first feeding is about to end. Hongya's tone was urgent as she directed her clan's people. Get the food ready. She's coming down any moment. It's ready. The Meru clan, led by Hong Zhuang, worked briskly, laying out the dishes neatly. I gave them a glance and nodded to myself. Though they were all vegetarian dishes, the presentation was excellent, full of artistry, exquisite and refined. Each dish's garnish had been shaped individually, and the main dish, the big radish, was even carved with flower patterns. But as for the taste, at least I couldn't see much trace of cooking or preparation. Dishes that hadn't been properly cooked, how far could their flavor go? I had a big question mark about that in my mind. Cree, the three-legged ice phoenix cried out clearly again. Just as Hongya had said, its first feeding was over. The hail that had seemed like the end of the world a moment ago was now nowhere to be seen. The dark clouds in the sky all lowered their banners and silenced their drums at once. But seeing them still churning violently, it was very likely they were temporarily building up power. Swish! A chill suddenly ran through my whole body. My eyes had met the three-legged ice phoenixes. Lord of this world, I hunger. Have your Meru clan bring out the dishes they've prepared. An extremely pleasant female voice sounded in the depths of my heart. Having had the experience of conversing with the Crimson Flame Dragon, this method didn't surprise me much. What made me curious was that the three-legged ice phoenix actually knew my identity as a lord, and knew the Meru clan had prepared food for her. Hongya, at my single command, the Meru clan filed out of the cafeteria, each holding a dish. Whoosh! The three-legged ice phoenix turned into a streak of ice-blue light and arrived inside the barrier in an instant. She was plainly in bird form, yet the way she sampled the dishes carried, to my eyes, an inexplicable nobility and elegance. Her movements were clearly unhurried, yet she ate at no slow pace at all. In under 5 minutes, all 24 dishes the Meru clan had prepared went into her belly. Honored Ice Phoenix, are you satisfied with the dishes prepared for you this time? Hongya was utterly respectful. The three-legged ice phoenix said nothing, only gave an almost imperceptible nod. Seeing this, the entire Meru clan let out a long breath. Experienced as they were, they knew this kind of feedback meant they'd passed. With that, the whole base was safe. However, after the nod, the three-legged ice phoenix promptly turned her gaze toward me inside the cafeteria. Lord of this world, there are clearly other dishes. Why not bring them out for me to sample? Other dishes? I was slightly taken aback and, a bit hesitant, held up the plate of sweet and sour pork tenderloin, already more than half eaten. You mean this? The three-legged ice phoenix said nothing, but her fixed, intent gaze said it all. The Meru clan's hearts seized up in an instant. They'd thought they'd passed, but who knew there'd be another twist? The Lord did have a dish in hand, but that dish had already been eaten from. Who could have guessed the three-legged ice phoenix would take an interest in it? If she grew displeased over it, then. Hongya took several deep breaths and was about to steel herself and go take the dish to present it to the ice phoenix, when, in a flash, the three-legged ice phoenix had appeared right in front of me. That gave Wenji, Wuji, and the residents in the cafeteria quite a scare. Shing! Wuji's blade left its sheath. Huh. Huishu gripped his hammer with both hands and lunged a step forward. Ooh. CHK. Cha-cha. Cheap. Oh. Every hero and resident instantly dropped into a combat stance. I was their lord. Anyone who threatened the lord, even the quadruple S three-legged ice phoenix, would not be allowed. Lady Ice Phoenix. Wenji leveled her folding fan, her voice trembling faintly but utterly resolute. Please, get away from my lord. The three-legged ice phoenix swept a glance over them, not a single ripple stirring in her deep blue pupils. It was only an instant, yet it left my mouth dry. I had no read at all on the three-legged ice phoenix's strength. If a real conflict broke out, our side would be wiped out in an instant. Going to war with an existence like this, even if I used the dragon scale to summon the Crimson Flame Dragon, would probably be of no use. Just as my heart was in my throat and my mind raced madly over how to defuse the situation, the three-legged ice phoenix had already withdrawn her gaze, stretched out her slender neck, and pecked a piece of sweet and sour pork into her mouth. Right after, a second piece, a third, a fourth, and then none left. Is there more? I want more. The three-legged ice phoenix's voice sounded in the depths of my heart again. One moment. Suppressing my unease, I started cooking. Cut the meat, marinate it, coat it in batter, deep fry it. The steps were exactly the same as before, but my state of mind was entirely different because the three-legged ice phoenix, a quadrupole existence, was watching right beside me. At the same time, fine beads of sweat had already broken out on Wenji's forehead. With the three-legged ice phoenix here and the temperature down past -20 degrees, she was actually sweating. Make the sauce, reduce it, add the fried tenderloin, toss the pan, and plate it. Another steaming plate of sweet and sour pork tenderloin came out. The moment the dish was set before the ice phoenix, her beak went to work. One piece, two, three. The sweet and sour pork dwindled fast. In under a minute, the whole plate had gone into her belly. Very delicious. The three-legged ice phoenix nodded at me. I have never eaten a dish this good. Thanks for the praise. I let out a small breath of relief. I could tell her tone had softened quite a bit. That was a good sign. I see there are still many ingredients over there. Do you know how to make other dishes? Make some for me to taste. At that request, all I had left inside was a wry smile. Her tone was gentler, but it still brooked no argument. Of course, I didn't have a choice either. Fine, I'll cook. Circumstances are stronger than a person. Who told my territory to be this monstrous? Every other day out pops an SSS or an SSSS. Any grade SS calamity beast was pathetically weak next to them. Sometimes I really couldn't say whether the environment was harsher on Earth or on Planet Zero. If forced to choose, I, stuck on Planet Zero, seemed more like I was in hell. Under the three-legged ice phoenix's watch, I went on to make, in order, braised pork, yusiang shredded pork, kung pao chicken, gobera, oil-braised eggplant, 10 dishes in all. Each one, the moment it was done, was swept clean by her right away. Just as I was about to make the 11th, the three-legged ice phoenix spoke again. I have greatly enjoyed every dish you made. But as you are the lord of this world, I cannot go too far, so let's leave it here for now. I came here to hold off the flash freeze storm for your base, which counts as helping you. The dishes just now, consider them your payment to me. Yes, that's how it is. With that, she turned into a streak of light and appeared in midair once more. By now the dark clouds in the sky seemed to have recharged their energy, and enormous hail poured down again. But before the ice-blue vortex, this hail was still like eggs thrown against a rock. The instant it entered the vortex, it turned into blue light, became part of the vortex, and was then absorbed by the three-legged ice phoenix at the center. This time the hail lasted much longer. A full hour later, the dark clouds in the sky finally lowered their banners. The moment the hail stopped, the three-legged ice phoenix entered the barrier again. This time she came straight in front of me. I'm a bit tired. Is there any more good food? I was completely speechless. Tired? With your quadruple S status, you're telling me you're tired? It's only been an hour. Nobody eats this diligently. But thinking about it, what she'd said earlier did carry some sense. Whatever the case, her presence really had held the flash freeze storm off the base, so a bit of payment was fair, even if this payment was a little odd. So over the next hour plus, I entered cooking mode again. Mapo tofu, chili fried pork, pickled cabbage fish, potato and beef, tomato beef brisket, one dish after another brought out, and the three-legged ice phoenix turned down nothing, eating it all. This is this round's payment. You seem a bit tired too, so let's stop here for now. Oh, so you know I'm tired? I griped loudly in my head. An hour of cooking wasn't all that tiring on the body, but mentally exhausting for sure. Anyone doing work under the stare of an existence this powerful would feel the psychological pressure. The three-legged ice phoenix didn't seem to hear the voice in my heart. She returned to midair to deal with the next round of hail. This time the hail lasted even longer. A full 3 hours later, the dark clouds in the sky sounded the gong to withdraw once more. Just as everyone expected, the three-legged ice phoenix came again. And once again I entered cooking mode. The residents had gone a bit numb. Several of the heroes had gone numb too. At least for now, the three-legged ice phoenix wasn't violent. But she seemed to especially love the dishes I made. In a sense, this should probably count as a kind of bullying too. Over the next 3 days, the time the dark clouds spent gathering grew longer each round, and each spell lasted longer too. According to Hongya, this flash freeze storm was finally almost over. Hearing that news, the happiest was undoubtedly me. I was finally about to shed the identity of cook. Over these 3 days, the three-legged ice phoenix had made me her exclusive chef through and through. 3 days in, almost all the ingredients I had on hand had been eaten clean by her. What was more helpless was that with the temperature dropping steadily, the base saw zero progress on construction over these 3 days, and that in particular gnawed at me. After all, every day that passed brought me one day closer to the void thunder-devouring beast's arrival. When that came, if my strength was lacking, then even if I didn't die at the three-legged ice phoenix's hands now, I'd very likely die at the void thunder-devouring beasts. Another day passed, and after the three-legged ice phoenix absorbed one more round of icicles and ice pillars, the dark clouds in the sky finally dispersed. The sky turned back into blue with white clouds. The golden light spilling down from the sky. Was that sunlight? No, it wasn't. It was the dawn light that stood for hope. But before I could get happy, the three-legged ice phoenix came before me once again. After dealing with her this many times, even without her opening her mouth, I knew what to do. Helpless, I could only use the leftover ingredients to make her one more meal. Watching her nod in satisfaction, I felt my very soul had ascended. It was finally over. I was finally free. Wonderful. Watching the three-legged ice phoenix turn into a streak of blue light and fly toward the sky, I waved my right hand right away. Goodbye. And never again. But then my gaze froze, because the three-legged ice phoenix hadn't flown far at all. She blew a breath into the woods beside the base, turning a small patch of forest into a frost palace complex. Then, under my gaze, she walked into the palace at the very center, the very top. It wasn't just me who was stunned. The heroes at the base were all dumbfounded too. This three-legged ice phoenix, what was going on? The flash freeze storm was over. The food had been eaten, so why wasn't she leaving and building a nest right beside the base to boot? She's probably tired and wants to rest a while. Ellie forced a smile, trying to think of it in the best light. Wenji, though, punctured it outright. By the look of this, she's definitely not resting temporarily. She means to stay long-term. This ice phoenix palace she's built is the mark of it. Oh, the smile Ellie had forced could hold no longer and collapsed entirely into a bitter one. Huishu's face was full of helplessness too. As a fire-type hero, he genuinely had no fondness for water-type or ice-type existences. Hongye floated a guess. Could it be that the Lord's dishes are so delicious she wants to stay here a while longer? Hongzhuang nodded with conviction. Ever since she ate the Lord's cooking, she never touched our dishes again. Better if the two of them hadn't said it. Once they did, I had the feeling of having lifted a rock only to drop it on my own foot. Of all the times not to cook well, why cook well now? Great. Now there was an untouchable big shot right next to the base. The day she got in a bad mood, one sneeze could blow the whole base into ice shards. Even more of a headache, the Great Han Nation's frontline offensive was starting tomorrow. Factoring in the early preparations, I had to go back today. Wenji, who knew the inside story, saw my worry and consoled me. My lord, go handle your business without hesitation. The three-legged ice phoenix is by no means something we can match right now. On that premise, we actually have nothing to worry about. Look on the bright side. This also gives us a chance to build good relations with her. If we can forge a deeper bond, she might just become the guardian deity of the base. Guardian deity. The moment Huishu, Ellie, and Hongye heard the word, their eyes lit up at once. A quadruple-S guardian deity. That would be immensely reassuring. I nodded noncommittally. Whether or not to worry was one thing, but what Wenji said did make sense. When your strength is lacking, no amount of worrying helps. For now, treating the three-legged ice phoenix as if she didn't exist was perhaps the most correct choice. And ever since she'd built the ice phoenix palace, though the temperature within the base's range was still low, it had begun climbing back up fast. At this rate, in less than a day the residents would once again have conditions fit for work. The time came to 2 in the afternoon. I'd been keeping an eye on the three-legged ice phoenix's movements this whole time. But so far she'd shown nothing unusual, staying inside her palace the entire time without coming out. That put me a good deal more at ease. After settling some matters with Wenji, I took a look at the tavern and still found no new hero. Recruiting 3 heroes on the very first day, could I have overdrawn my luck? I gave a self-mocking laugh and walked out of the tavern. In truth, I knew full well that the tavern coming up empty of heroes was the norm. 3 showing up at once that day was pure luck overflowing. Meanwhile, after the flash freeze storm ended, the temperature rebounded even faster than I'd estimated. Around 3 in the afternoon, the temperature gauge showed the base had returned to -5 degrees. This temperature wasn't warm, but at least it no longer got in the way of normal activity. The residents, who'd rested for 3 days and kept thinking about their suddenly interrupted work, couldn't wait to get to work now. After one last look at the base restored to life, I activated the teleport in the Lord's Manor. In just a few seconds, I appeared at home. Today was Monday, and at this hour Zhou Huan would still be in class, definitely not home. But I made a circuit of the house and found Mom and Dad weren't in either. Only after calling did I learn they'd been invited out to a meal by the director of the quartermaster office. On hearing this, My first reaction was surprise. My parents weren't exactly good at socializing. So how had they gotten connected with a big shot like that in just a few days? But apart from being surprised, I didn't think much of it. Parents have their own lives, and I didn't want to meddle too much. Yet just as I was about to hang up, my dad suddenly said, "Wait, son, you haven't eaten either, right? Come join us. Director May is such a good person." "Director May?" I said with a smile. "I'll pass. I've got the frontline offensive tomorrow, so I need to go report to the United Front Work Department first." Static crackled on the other end for a bit, and after a moment my dad's voice came again. "What United Front Work Department?" "Director Koo from the United Front is here too. He says he can just have you report to him directly." "Director Koo is here too?" I was a little numb. What kind of meal was this? The Quartermaster Office, the United Front Work Department. These were the great Han Nation's genuine, hard power departments. Why would big shots like this be sitting at the same dinner table as my parents at a time like this? The more I thought about it, the more off it felt. I didn't answer for a long while, and then the voice on the other end switched to a bold, full-throated one. "Young Zhou, I'm Kashodo. Don't bother going to the United Front Work Department. Just come on over for a simple meal, and I'll handle the paperwork for you personally." Before I could answer, the voice switched again to an aged yet refined one. "Yes, young Zhou, come on over. It's a rare trip back, and your parents are all waiting for you. With things put this way, what else could I do? Go then." "All right, I'll head over now. You've probably just gotten home, right? Here's what we'll do. I'll send someone to pick you up. Wait a few minutes. The car will be there soon." "A private car too?" "Fine." Though still a bit baffled, I could only go over and take a look first. The car arrived quickly. The driver who came for me was courteous with a note of deference in his words. I'd assumed he was an ordinary person, but a glance at his shoulder insignia showed he was a captain. Once I arrived, I realized something was off. Why were there so many people? "Son, you're finally here." My dad stood up and pulled me along to make introductions one by one. Quick, quick, let me introduce you. This is Director May of the Quartermaster Office, the one who spoke with you just now." "Hello, Director May." "Hey, calling me Director now, are you? If you don't mind, just call me Uncle May." "Then, Uncle May." "Good, good, good." Director May was grinning ear to ear. My dad went on. "This is Director Koo of the United Front Work Department, who also just spoke with you on the phone. And this is Director Gu of the Drug Administration. And this one here." By the time my dad finished the whole round of introductions, my eyes had been opened wide. I knew my dad best of all. Ordinarily so honest and dutiful, with basically no social connections. Yet in this little bit of time, he'd come to know so many big shots. After greeting each of them, I finally sat down. Seeing everyone's smiling faces, I knew in my heart that today's whole setup was surely about something, and 9 times out of 10 it was aimed at me. Otherwise, what simple meal could gather this many big shots in one place? Did they have nothing better to do? Sure enough, after 2 rounds of pleasantries, Director May spoke up. "Here's the thing, young Zhou. A few days ago, some lords from your same lord circle brought back word that your territory produced 2 kinds of liquor, a grade C fine liquor called heroin, and a grade A fine liquor called Spring Breeze." "That right?" "That's right." I casually took out a bottle of each from my lord's space and set them on the table. Actually, even without Director May bringing it up, I'd planned to find a way to connect with the state. Of my 2 liquors, heroin was one thing, but Spring Breeze, being a grade A fine liquor, commanded a high price, definitely not something an ordinary lord could afford. But with the state scale, taking it on would be easy. If I could establish a stable sales channel, recouping capital in the future would be much faster. "Oh, this is Spring Breeze." Director May's gaze fell on the wooden jar inscribed with Spring Breeze in Wenji's own hand. The wooden jar was made from the grade B lumber Xiangqin wood, which not only sealed well, but also lent Spring Breeze a distinctive flavor. "Yes, Uncle May." I nodded, and out of the corner of my eye noticed that all the big shots present had gone quiet, their gazes fixed uniformly on the Spring Breeze. This reaction confirmed my guess to about 9 parts out of 10. I seized the moment. Since this Spring Breeze came out, only I myself have tasted it, so I don't know how the market will react. If you gentlemen don't mind, why not help me see whether it meets market demand? Ha ha ha. This is a grade A fine liquor. My worthy nephew is just handing it to us to drink like this? How thoughtful of you. Director May was courteous in speech, but his hands didn't idle, and he took the liquor right away. 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups. By the time he'd poured all around, everyone had a small cup of pale green Spring Breeze before them. The aroma and color, before it even touched their lips, had everyone praising it as extraordinary. Director May sang its praises repeatedly. "Don't laugh at me, everyone. I've been quartermaster director for 23 years, and though grade A equipment isn't under my charge, I really have handled plenty of it. But this grade A fine liquor, this really is my first time drinking it. At those words, everyone laughed. It was grade A after all. How could a grade A item be simple? Never mind grade A liquor, they'd never even seen grade B liquor. Come. Today, thanks to my worthy nephew, let's taste this grade A spring breeze. Cheers. Everyone clinked cups and began to taste. One mouthful down, and all the big shots, Director May included, closed their eyes and savored it carefully. Seeing this, my parents couldn't help being puzzled. They'd drunk the liquor too, and if you asked whether it was good, it truly was, but surely not to this degree. I, on the other hand, truly came to understand at this point. Earlier I'd thought today's dinner was set up by Director May to establish a supply channel for grade A fine liquor with me. I'd even wondered that for a single deal like this, inviting this many people was making a mountain out of a molehill. But now it was clear there was another purpose, most likely aimed at the effect of spring breeze. The effect of removing negative effects. And the only effect that could make this many big shots value it, headache over it, and want to be rid of it was one thing, calamity aura. Sure enough, after the brief eye closing, Director May was the first to open his eyes, full of pleasant surprise. Then the others slowly opened their eyes too. But their expressions all differed. Some were likewise delighted, some wore sorrowful faces and shed tears. And there were those like Director Ku, who slapped the table and shot to his feet, shouting and spinning in circles. Good, good, wonderful, ha ha ha. They'd gone mad. My parents were both scared witless. What liquor was this? Why such a big reaction? Was it poisoned? Director May left his seat, strode to my side, and without a word gripped both my hands, shaking them up and down with big motions. Worthy nephew, your liquor has saved us. Saved all of us lords. Saved our great Han nation. Thud. My dad's knees went weak, and he slid straight down to sit on the floor. My mom got quite a fright too. What? How had it suddenly saved all the lords, and saved the entire great Han nation to boot? What happened? Isn't this a bit too exaggerated? My mom asked, stammering. Not exaggerated in the least. If anything, it's understated. Director Ko wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, his face utterly grave. Not just the great Han nation, but the pretty nation, the white bear nation, the will nation, and so on, the whole world even, and every lord to come hereafter, all have to thank him. My parents were completely dumbstruck. This was too outrageous, entirely beyond what they could take in. Seeing this, Director May quickly composed himself and gave them a simple explanation. After the explanation, my parents got worked up along with them. Calamity aura. This thing's notoriety wasn't limited to the Lord's circle. Even ordinary common folk knew full well its harm. Upon learning that my liquor could actually remove calamity aura, they found nothing strange about Director May and Director Ku's reactions just now. Exaggerated, still a touch exaggerated of course, but entirely acceptable now. At this point, everyone present, led by Director May and Director Ku, straightened their clothes, and then bowed deeply to me with the utmost solemnity. I hurriedly rose. Uncles, what are you doing? I can't accept this. Everyone laughed. A trifling small courtesy, what's there to not accept? Worthy nephew, you've as good as saved our lives. Even kneeling and kowtowing to you would be only right. Well said. If not for this liquor coming out, I reckon I'd have had to say goodbye in 3 years at most. I really would have to give you a kowtow. No. I hurriedly held them up, one thing at a time. As it looked now, my liquor could indeed remove calamity aura, but these uncle generation folks had truly given decades of dedication to the country, and the calamity aura on them had gotten this severe precisely from resisting powerful calamity beasts. Just how full of myself would I have to be to accept such a grand courtesy from them with an easy conscience? Director May's face then switched to a smiling expression. Worthy nephew, you're not accepting our courtesy. You're not by any chance unwilling to sell the liquor to the state, are you? How could that be? I laughed. Doing my part for the country is what I should do. As long as the state needs it, I can donate this liquor free of charge. Hey, Director May's face immediately went stern. I understand your good intentions, but a thing like donating free of charge, don't bring it up again. You think of the country, and the country will never let you take a loss. For this liquor, the state is willing to purchase at a price of 10,000 gold coins per caddy. Does that satisfy you? 10,000 gold coins. I was somewhat surprised. Compared to credit points, gold coins held their value far better. And this purchase price was already twice the shop's buyback price. Ordinarily, the market price of a grade A item ran between 1.3 and 1.8 times the buyback price. The price the state offered clearly exceeded market price, bearing out Director May's line. You think of the country, and the country will never let you take a loss. Very satisfied. Under everyone's expectant gazes, I agreed. In that instant, everyone's smiles grew even more brilliant. To be sure, before inviting me they'd done their homework and knew that given my disposition, I most likely wouldn't refuse. But most likely was still just most likely. If Spring Breeze truly could remove calamity aura, what they had to do was raise that most likely to absolute. As it looked now, the result was undoubtedly quite ideal. Worthy nephew, this Spring Breeze, how much can your territory produce in a month? Director Ku posed another question everyone cared about. They'd experienced Spring Breeze's effect, and it truly could remove calamity aura. But the amount of calamity aura removed was directly tied to the amount consumed. To remove a sufficient amount of calamity aura, you needed a corresponding amount of Spring Breeze. That made output crucial. After all, the number of lords in the Great Han Nation was what it was, limited by the raw materials for brewing Spring Breeze. Even with gold coins already used to accelerate it, a month yields 30 bottles. Everyone present was a core cadre of the state, so I had nothing worth hiding. 30 bottles. The leaders looked at one another, their brows all knitting into knots, because that output, in their eyes, was far too little. 30 bottles, they estimated, could help at most 200 lords remove calamity aura, and only in cases where the aura's impact wasn't severe. If the impact was severe, 30 bottles of Spring Breeze could probably only help 6 or 7 lords. Only 6 or 7 a month, and that was counting just domestically. Factor in allied nations too. Director May had already begun to get a headache. What are the raw materials for Spring Breeze? Would it be convenient to say? Director Ka said, many hands make light work. Our Great Han Nation is full of talent, and maybe someone's territory happens to have the materials you need. At those words, everyone's eyes lit up. Right. The growth of the materials and the brewing process could of course be accelerated with gold coins. But relying on gold coins for everything, past a certain point, the cost-effectiveness dropped sharply. If materials could be sourced elsewhere and gold coins used to accelerate only the brewing step, output could be greatly increased while keeping costs in check. Well, I thought back as I spoke. Brewing Spring Breeze uses 6 kinds of grade B fruit, 6 kinds of grade C fruit, and 2 kinds of grade A fruit, which are. The brewing recipe was in Ellie's hands, like a patent. Even if others knew the detailed recipe, without Ellie's permission, they couldn't brew it. So neither I nor anyone present had any qualms about it. But once I finished, everyone exchanged glances, somewhat at a loss. Old May, those 2 kinds of grade A fruit, Shuyang fruit and lychee fruit. Have you heard of them? Director May shook his head. Never mind those 2 grade A fruits, the other 3 grade B fruits, and 1 grade C fruit. I have no recollection of them either. Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Director May ran the state's quartermaster office and knew the state's resources like the back of his hand. If even he said he'd never heard of them, then it was 99% certain the state didn't have such resources. So the question became. Director Ka looked at me with an extremely odd gaze. Worthy nephew, your territory, it's not quite ordinary. The others nodded along too. That my territory was large, they knew. But a territory size had no direct bearing on its quality. Some lords had large territories, but barren resources, basically having to bring back resources fought for elsewhere to develop. Some lords had small territories, but rich resources, not only self-sufficient, but with a surplus to sell abroad. Only a very few territories were both sizable in area and rich in resources. My territory, in their eyes, was precisely such a case. Otherwise, it couldn't possibly produce so many kinds of grade B fruit while also producing grade A fruit, with even several fruit names they'd never heard of. Seeing a leopard through a tube, the quality of my territory was absolutely out of the ordinary. But one thing at a time. For now, the step of solving the problem was stuck again. Everyone had thought to directly solve the brewing material problem, but with so many kinds of fruit missing, there was simply no way to start. In the end, it still had to fall to me. We can only take it one step at a time. Director May sighed. Next, I'll put out a resource collection order domestically and see whether it turns up anything. Everyone slowly nodded again, the mood a bit heavy. At this point, Director Ku burst out laughing instead. What are you all doing this for? Spring Breeze's effect is this ideal. Shouldn't it be a great happy occasion? Why the long faces? The way I see it, you're just too greedy, always wanting to get fat in one bite. Think about it. Calamity aura has been plaguing us for 300 years now. Can a problem like this be solved all at once? The way things are now is plenty good already. Old Ka sees it clearest after all. A smile returned to Director May's face. I really was being greedy. The others came to their senses too. That was indeed how it was. Before, Spring Breeze can remove Calamity Aura was only an inference and a hypothesis. Now that it was confirmed, that in itself was a great joy. What was there to be unhappy about? Worthy nephew. Come, let me, old foam, drink a toast to you. Worthy nephew. Uncle Wong toasts you too. Me as well. By the time I returned to Jingyang Palace together with my parents, it was already 7 in the evening. Because their own son had made an outstanding contribution to the country and won the recognition of so many top leaders, my parents were happy at heart and drank themselves into a stupor. And in my hands, I gained 2 extra things. One was the Spring Breeze purchase contract Director May had signed with me on behalf of the State Quartermaster Office. The other was the Frontline Offensive token Director Ku had given me. Worth mentioning, this token was again gold-colored. That set my mind wandering. Don't tell me there's some special treatment again. The next day, after arriving at the assembly point, I once again walked the gold channel and was assigned to defense position 197. At a glance it seemed fine, but a little observation revealed that the defensive terrain around me formed a concave shape, and the position 197I was in charge of sat right at the center, the sunken part of that concave. In other words, as long as my comrades on either side pulled their weight, no calamity beast could break through to me at all. Even if some did make it, it'd be 2 or 3 stray cats worth. Sure enough, arranged for again. I shook my head with a wry smile. I understood, of course, that this was Director Ka looking out for me. But what I wanted to say was, I really didn't need this kind of looking out. I needed experience. I needed my residents to level up. I needed enough strength to handle the void thunder-devouring beast, to handle even stronger unknowns down the road. But there was no help for it. Military orders are as immovable as a mountain. Since the arrangement was already made, I could only carry it out obediently. The frontline offensive, as the name suggests, was an offense or defense with the goal of stabilizing the front line. The line I was on was called the Xiangsha line, running south to north. Holding the line meant holding Changsha, Xiangtan, Yiyang, and half of Yiyang. And if we could push forward while holding the line, there was hope of retaking all of Yiyang from the calamity beasts, and even Laodi and Huaihua. But hope was one thing and reality another. Over all these years, the Great Han Nation had gained the advantage plenty of times in frontline offensives and had tried to push forward. But the calamity beasts grew stronger the farther west you went, which directly meant the farther forward you pushed, the greater the resistance. In the end, after all the fighting back and forth, it still hovered around the line. Good morning, dear viewers. This Xiangsha line offensive will be brought to you with full commentary by us, still me, A's. And still me, Bing Bing. A's. The Xiangsha line offensive, held once every 6 months, is one of the offensives our Fulon compatriots follow most closely. Bing Bing, Though its intensity isn't high among all the frontline offensives, it truly tugs at the hearts of our broad Fulon compatriots. Ace, of course, among today's viewers there are surely enthusiastic compatriots from other provinces too. Bing Bing. According to real-time tallies, the viewership has now reached 54.03 million. And it's still climbing fast. Ace, then no more chit-chat. Let's follow the camera and take a look at this offensive's deployment. Bing Bing. The deployment map has appeared. From the deployment, we can see that the United Front Work Department has deployed considerable combat strength at several important positions from past years. Ace, before this offensive began, Director Ku also stated publicly that a push was planned. From the deployment map, you can indeed see Director Ku's resolve in this regard. Bing Bing. Brother Ace, do you mean Hong Jian, Lin Xiao, and Bu Yinyan? Ace, that's right. These lords are all rookie champions from past years, and this time they've been placed right at the very front of the line. Bing Bing. And Su Qingxue, the rookie lord who shone brilliantly this year, has actually been assigned to position 3. What a bold deployment. Ace, The lower the number, the more dangerous it means. So for Lord Su Qingxue, this offensive should be quite a test. Bing Bing, What about Lord Zhou Yun? As this year's rookie champion, how come I don't see any sign of him? Ace, strange. I've looked through the entire roster from position 1 to 20 and haven't found Lord Zhou Yun. Bing Bing. Don't tell me he's not participating. Ace, this, surely not. In a frontline offensive you can earn not only huge merit and experience, but it's also a prime chance to attract sponsors. Position 197, Defense. Besides me, there were 19 others. As the Calamity Beast assault drew closer and closer, they all grew visibly tense. Do we have a carry? I'm so nervous. There's no need to be BS so nervous, right? We, we are at P position 1-1-197777 after all. But your voice is shaking as you talk. I'll come clean. I only have one grade E flying beast. I can help with scouting, but I've got almost no frontline combat power. I've got 3 grade F bandage beasts that can help with healing, only they're a bit slow. Is it my turn? My residents are 2 sway flowers that can continuously restore everyone's energy and stamina. Everyone chimed in, saying what they could do, thinking of coordinating with one another to get a good result. But after all 19 had spoken, they suddenly realized something. Do we not have a main attacker? Right? How is everyone a support? Is there some mistake? By rights, the United Front Work Department wouldn't make such an unreasonable arrangement. There ought to at least be a main carry, right? Otherwise, with our lineup, aren't we just free kills? They can't be skipping the main carry just because we're the last position, can they? The most terrifying episode ever. Wait, don't panic. Hasn't he not spoken yet? Me? I pointed at myself and thought about it. I have 3 Grey B archers. Carry. Before I'd even finished, someone cried out. Bro, we're counting entirely on you now. Grade B. 3 of them. We might just take off. The weight of Grade B is reassuring. So unexpected. Such a happy surprise. How should we address you, big shot? Just call me Zhou Yun. As I spoke, I dodged a socially fearless fellow's flying pounce. Zhou Yun? That name? I feel like I've heard it somewhere. No wonder it looks so familiar. Turns out it's this year's rookie champion. It's actually the legendary Brother Yun. Woo-hoo. Blame me for being a small fry with shallow experience. A true god right in front of me, and I actually failed to recognize him. These people were more over the top than one another, to the point where the hairs on my arms showed signs of standing up. I waved a hand. Everyone, stop building me up. We're all comrades at the same position. Let's coordinate with each other and aim for a good result. Right? Makes sense. Everyone nodded. But less than a second later, someone raised a question. That's not right, Brother Yun. As strong as you are, how are you at such a rear position? That question immediately drew the others' attention, and one by one they stared at me wide-eyed like curious babies. You think I wanted this? Wasn't I being looked out for? I sighed inwardly and laughed it off. The United Front Work Department must have other considerations. Seeing I had no interest in pursuing the topic, everyone tactfully didn't follow up. But the glances that drifted over now and then still gave away what was on their minds. Boom, 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 boom. A muffled drumbeat suddenly sounded. Lords at all positions raised their guard. This was the warning of a calamity beast attack. The drumbeat wasn't fast yet, meaning the calamity beasts were still some distance from the defense line. As they closed in, the beat would grow denser and denser. Before long, positions 127 and 126 at the 2 raised parts of the concave had formally engaged the calamity beasts. These 2 positions were still some distance from 197, but 197 sat at the peak of a low hill, with an elevation advantage, so I could get a rough view. 2 adjacent positions already in battle made the lords at my position uneasy. How come this batch of calamity beasts feels tougher than what we saw on TV last year? Right? The first wave brought out grade E rotting zombies, skipping grade F entirely. The numbers seem to have grown a bit too. On average, each position probably has 200. Way too many. And there are rotting zombies still joining in behind them. Say, positions 126 and 127, they won't fail to hold, will they? Don't you jinx it. It might just come true. If they can't hold, we're the first to get unlucky. Come forth, bandage beast. Swayflower, you're the one I choose. Labubu beast, heed my summons. Everyone summoned their residents as if of one mind. It seemed only this could give them a bit of a sense of safety. I gazed intently into the distance, estimating the distance from my spot to 126 and 127, but wasn't quite sure. So, Hongxiu, Hongying, Hongtao. Swish, swish, swish. Along with 3 flashes of light, 3 cute little girls in red appeared beside me. My lord. Led by Hongxiu, the 3 saluted in unison. I nodded and pointed toward 126 and 127. Take a look. With your range, can you provide support there? No problem. After just one glance, Hongxiu gave her answer with full confidence. Good. I set my mind at ease. Stand by where you are. Yes. Hongxiu, Hongying, and Hongtao obediently agreed and stood behind me. By this point, the others at the position were dumbstruck. It can talk. This is a resident. Bunny girls. So cute. Look at the bows on their backs. Don't tell me these are the 3 grade B archers Brother Yun mentioned. This cute, and grade B too. So enviable. Hold on. Hold on. What did Brother Yin mean just now asking whether they could support? Don't tell me he means to strike the calamity beasts from here at range. Wouldn't that be too dangerous? It might draw the calamity beasts over. Right? Should we bring it up with Brother Yin? You go. You go. You brought it up, so why don't you go? Obviously. I'm a coward. Listening to the whispering of the crowd behind me, I shook my head inwardly. Being afraid to die was actually quite normal. But since you'd taken the field, since you joined the front-line offensive, you should have the resolve. Merit wasn't muddled through. It was fought for by lords with their lives. Precisely for that reason, merit was so precious. Besides, I had great confidence in Hongxiu, Hongtao, and Hongying's combat strength. Granted, even within the Meru clan, they counted as rising talents, having only just advanced to grade B these past few days after eating a sufficient amount of big radishes. But a freshly advanced grade B was still grade B. Using grade B against grade E rotting zombies was not far off from using a cannon to blast mosquitoes. The only constraint was distance. Since I'd been assigned to 197, I couldn't leave. That meant helping 126 and 127 could only be done through range support. And since Hongxiu had said range was no problem, this sole issue was resolved too. The me of now was just waiting for a moment to strike. After all, killing calamity beasts earned experience and merit. While the lords at the two positions could still handle things, my rashly striking would raise the suspicion of snatching merit and experience. Time slowly slipped by. The first wave of attacking calamity beasts was successfully held off. My comrades all let out a breath in unison. The comrades at 126 and 127 really pulled their weight. Right? It didn't even feel like much effort, and we finished off this wave. Wonderful. If it keeps developing like this, there'll be nothing for us to do. It's just that if so, the merit and experience are gone. It's only the experience we lose. As for merit, as long as you join the offensive, the guaranteed minimum is 1,000, which is quite nice. If we really want experience, when the last wave's about to end, we can swarm in and grab a few. They probably won't say anything. It's a bit shameless, but with our strength, this is all we can do. Ace, the calamity beast's first wave was easily neutralized. Bing bing. I don't know if it's an illusion, but this time the calamity beast's first wave was fiercer than last year, yet it ended faster than last year. Ace, this really isn't an illusion. Compared to last year, it was nearly 5 minutes faster this year, for minutes and 29 seconds, to be exact. Bing bing, that much faster. Ace, yes. Hong Jian, Lin Xiao, Bu Yanyan, and Su Qingxue, who rose as a dark horse this year, all put in outstanding performances this time. It was they who led the lords at their positions to inflict massive casualties on the calamity beasts, and even drew away the calamity beasts attacking neighboring positions. Bing bing. No wonder the first wave ended so quickly this time. Teacher A's does observe carefully, but that means in the second wave they'll get even more attention from the calamity beasts, won't they? Ace, that's inevitable. But if you want to wear the crown, you must bear its weight. They're surely prepared for it. Bing bing. That said, I just searched all over again and still couldn't find Lord Zhou Yun. Don't tell me. He really didn't participate this time? Ace, I did find him actually. It's just that Lord Zhou Yun's position is really less than ideal. In this offensive, I'm afraid he'll have a hard time doing anything. Bing bing. You found him? Where? Just now several big investors were asking about his position through the Damaku. Ace, position 197. Bing bing. Position 197? This. Position 126. Brothers, the war drums are beating again. Everyone get ready. This fast. The calamity beast's assault pace is too tight. My traps aren't finished being set up yet. My Gatling beast hasn't cooled down yet either. Who has a small blue vial? Sell me one. My witch beast's mana is running low. Position 127. Damn, how long has it even been? How is the second wave here again? Get ready quick. Same plan as before. The steel golems hold the front on defense. My sand soldiers do the main attacking from the rear, and the rest of you brothers handle providing buffs for us. Right? Come on. That's not right. How come there are rotting knights among the calamity beasts this time? The heck? Aren't rotting knights grade D calamity beasts? How are they showing up in the second wave? Right? Normally, they wouldn't come until at least the fourth wave. Something feels off. No time to worry about that. Let's go, let's go. Kill. Along with the Lord's battle cries, the calamity beast tide formed of rotting skeletons and rotting knights crashed into formal engagement with the Lords on the line. The Lords each displayed their own abilities. locked in fierce battle with the calamity beasts. More and more people flooded into the live stream to follow this offensive. The Great Han Nation's annual frontline offensives, by region and intensity, totaled 6. Each one bore on the Great Han Nation's territorial changes, as well as shifts in the Lord's strength. What everyone most wanted to see was undoubtedly the Lords pushing forward while holding the line. The deeper the better, so the Great Han Nation could reclaim vast territory and gain more resources. At the same time, such a push demonstrated the Lord's might, giving the Great Han Nation's citizens stronger national confidence. But this time, the viewers following the battle felt a bit heavy-hearted. In a certain company cafeteria, all the employees gathered together, staring at the big screen they'd set up. How are skeleton knights showing up in just the second wave? Something feels off. This batch of calamity beasts is clearly stronger than the last few times. Didn't the United Front Work Department plan to push forward? How are they going to push like this? Did you notice? The interval from the end of the first wave to the second has shortened too. The Lords have no time to adjust their state at all. I see the Lords at several positions are really rushed. Look at the bottom right of the screen, camera 11. That position 127. Did something go wrong? Holy crap. How was the front row broken through? What? Crap. Find a way to hold it up. The sand soldiers in the rear got hit by the rotting knights. Don't panic. Steady the formation. I'm honestly speechless. The sudden turn at 127 threw the company's staff into an instant uproar, and plenty of people across the country following the battle were just as anxious. A line is a line, and every point is crucial. As long as one point has a problem, a chain reaction is easy to trigger. This sort of thing had happened before, and every time it did, it brought a big negative impact on the Lords overall. Ace, not good. The steel golem at position 127 that was tanking damage was knocked over by 3 rotting knights working together. A gap has opened in the front row. Bing bing. The sand soldiers in the rear are in danger. The Lords are starting to panic. Ace, 127 has fired a yellow signal flare. This is a call for aid. They need support. Bing bing. Their lineup is extremely bare bones, so they really do need support. The problem is it happened suddenly, and the nearest position, 126, is also in fierce battle, with no hands to spare at all. Ace. No, there's also position 197. Lord Zhou Yun is at 197. With his combat strength, as long as he can reach the scene, he could definitely steady the situation. Bing bing. His combat strength is surely enough, but there's not enough time. Though the straight line distance from 197 to 127 is only 400 meters, to get there he'd have to go down the hill, cross the river, then climb the ridge. Ace, wait. What's this? How did the 3 rotting knights that broke through the line suddenly go down? Bing bing. It's red arrows. 3 red arrows killed them instantly. Ace, Where did the arrows come from? Where's another one of our lords nearby? Such strong power, and such long range too? Whose subordinate is this? Bing bing, I don't know either. But this is definitely a pleasant surprise. Among our lords, there's clearly an expert still hidden. Who is it? Who? Holy crap. What a cool shot. Which lord made the move? The viewers who caught this scene were all looking for this hidden expert. At the same time, the official camera was searching too, ceaselessly switching shots. Right then, in the official live stream, a golden sword descended from the heavens. Accompanied by domineering Damaku coiled with golden dragons, it came rolling in. Tianyu Pharmaceutical, sponsoring the lord who fired the red arrows free of charge, 10,000 gold coins. Holy crap. The moment that Damaku appeared, it blasted the viewers to a crisp on the outside and mush on the inside. 10,000 gold coins was 100 million credit points. Tianyu Pharmaceutical just threw it out like that. And it was free sponsorship on top of that. Free though it was an incredibly bold declaration. This hidden expert lord, we Tianyu Pharmaceutical have our eye on you. What generosity. Tianyu Pharmaceutical, I had no impression of them before. How are they being so lavish? A while back there was word they were moving into the lord industry. They're probably about to play something big. This is way too big. Opening with 10,000 gold coins. Hey, how else would it have an effect? Didn't you see, everyone's been stunned. True. This lord's own strength probably isn't worth that much. But the key is Tianyu Pharmaceutical's timing was too good. Paying a fortune for the bones, as they say. Viewers across the country buzzed with discussion, the focus of the topic already shifting from the red arrows to Tianyu Pharmaceutical. After all, instantly killing grade D rotting knights was eye-catching, but in terms of pure strength, it wasn't really all that amazing. The reason it made people exclaim was that the arrows came in time, steadied the situation at 127, and kept the chaos from spreading further. Position 197. I had Hongxiu, Hongtao, and Honging strike once and then stopped. Killing 3 rotting knights this time counted as a small gain, but continuing would be impolite. By now 127 had re-steadied its defense line, and if I struck again, it would raise the suspicion of snatching experience and merit. Thinking of this, I couldn't help sighing. In the end, the position just wasn't good. Just then I noticed that at some point my comrades at the position had gathered around me, stars practically shooting from their eyes. Brother Yun, Brother Yun, Brother Yun, Brother Yun, Brother Yun, Brother Yun. Everyone said their piece, and the words were all pretty much the same, making my hair stand on end. Is there something you need? Could we discuss something? Someone said, face full of bashfulness, hands clasped together, twisting his body. I got another chill. Let's hear it. It's just, you see, could we cooperate a bit with positions 126 and 127? That way their pressure would ease a lot, and you, Brother Yun, would have a chance to make a move. Cooperate. I thought for a moment and agreed. It's doable, but how do we contact them? That's simple. We can run errands on your behalf and communicate with them. Right. There's nothing in the rules saying positions can't communicate with each other. Rest assured, Brother Yun. As long as you nod, leave everything else to us. Seeing them so eager, I couldn't help being curious. Isn't this too much trouble for you all? At those words, everyone got bashful again. Actually, it's not so bad. It's all for the team. The key thing is the position ranking merit reward. Ahem. I was suddenly amused. I'd wondered why these people's attitude had suddenly turned so coy. Turns out it was for the position ranking merit reward. After the frontline offensive ends, the positions are ranked by total merit gained, and merit rewards are handed out by ranking. Before, they couldn't work up the notion at all, but now it was different. My 3 archers were so fierce they could support 127 directly from this far away. Supporting 126 was surely no problem either. That meant, as long as we settled things with 126 and 127, I could totally rack up merit at range from 197. With the 3 archers taking down 1 rotting knight per arrow, harvesting merit would be blazing fast. Ideally, out of 197 positions total, they could rank at least in the top 50, and then each person would get 500 merit from the ranking reward, quite generous for them. But then again, with 197's merit all earned by me alone, it smacked rather of leeching, which was why they were all so embarrassed. Having figured out the crux, I gave a smile. Then I'll leave communicating with 126 and 127 to you. As for killing the calamity beasts, that's all on me. Everyone got excited at once. Thanks, Brother Yun. Brother Yun's so generous. Brother Yun's mighty. After a few cheers, as if they'd divided the work long ago, they split into 2 groups and dashed toward 126 and 127. Position 127 at that moment. Holy crap, that was way too damn close. Good thing those 3 arrows came in time. Otherwise, we'd probably have been done for. Stop talking. Focus on defense. The pressure's building up again. This won't work. Our damage output can't keep up. The rotting knights are still increasing. There are too few steel golems, and we're about to fail to hold again. Son of a gun, what the heck is going on? The second wave's intensity is this high. Damn, my sand soldiers are practically stabbing smoke, and the calamity beasts just won't shrink in number. Something's off. Clearly off. Should we raise another call for aid? How long has it even been? Raising the call for aid again? Once is one thing, but raise it a second time and the position ranking reward is cancelled outright. It's this late, and you're still on about the ranking reward? Whether we can get through this wave is anyone's guess. Who are you people? How'd you end up here? We're from position 197, and we want to talk with you about cooperating. What the heck? Can't you see what we're doing? Cooperate my foot. As long as you're willing to share the merit, my brother Yun will start range fire support right away. That's nuts, sharing merit in a situation like this. If you've got the skill to kill all the calamity beasts, the merit's all yours. Good. Then it's a deal. With that, the people from 197 immediately raised 2 flags and signaled to me at position 197 with flag semaphore. Flag semaphore was a required course in high school too, so of course I understood it. Support. Wipe them all out. I hadn't expected the communication to be so efficient. I gave a slight smile and ordered Hongxiu, Hongtao, and Honging, shoot them all dead. Understood. Hongxiu answered, and the 3 drew their bows in unison. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 ruby arrows shot straight for 127. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Level 1 Grade D Calamity Beast Rotting Knights had 20 points of endurance, which converted to 200 hit points. But of the current Hongxiu, Hongying, and Hongtao, even the lowest leveled Hongtao was level 12, with a strength attribute of 42. Ruby Burst Shot, as a single target damage skill, dealt 500% of the strength attribute, which was 210 points. The Rotting Knights had no damage reduction skill or talent and couldn't withstand this one arrow at all, dying instantly on the spot. Seeing the ruby arrows stuck in the 3 fallen Rotting Knights, the crowd at 127 got excited at once. Holy crap! Holy crap! Badass. So that expert was one of you from 197. No wonder he talked so big. He really does have the skill. Cool, cool, cool. Keep going, keep going. Get them. Receiving the praise of the 127 crowd, the few from 197 felt honored too. But a lord immediately cautioned, don't get careless. As strong as the expert at 197 is, he's still just one person, and his support for us is limited. It's impressive that he can shoot down 3 Rotting Knights per round, but there are still plenty left, especially the mass of rotting skeletons, which we can only handle ourselves. At those words, the hearts everyone had just set at ease rose again, because they all knew he was right. One person's strength was limited in the end. Even with an expert's support, it couldn't solve everything, and the rest still had to be handled themselves. They collected themselves and were about to throw themselves fully back into battle when suddenly, whoosh, 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 a great sheet of red arrow rain descended from the heavens. Thunk, 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 thunk. Rotting skeletons and rotting knights alike were stuck full of arrows all over. Their health bars, naturally, were instantly emptied. Seeing this scene, everyone was dumbstruck. What the heck is this? They were all insta-killed? So damn over the top. Is that a person? So brutal. Meeting the gazes cast their way by the 127 crowd, the few from 197 started stammering too. Don't look at us. We don't know either. Brother Yin didn't mention it either. I, at 197, naturally paid no attention to their reactions. My attention was entirely on those fallen calamity beasts. In a large-scale battle like this, Ruby Scatter Shot is far more effective than Ruby Burst Shot. I clicked my tongue inwardly. Ruby Scatter Shot, as an area attack skill, had a damage coefficient of only 300%, 200% lower than the single-target Ruby Burst Shot, but its range was wide. The damage of Hongxiu, Hongtao, and Hongying could completely overlap one another. That way, when they used Ruby Scatter Shot at the same time, targets in the area covered by the arrows would take 42 by 300% times 3 is equal to 378 total damage, nearly double that of Ruby Burst Shot. And killing that many calamity beasts at once naturally meant no small amount of experience. Level 1 Grade E Calamity Beast Rotting Skeletons naturally couldn't provide experience to the already level 12 girls. But Level 1 Grade D Calamity Beast Rotting Knights, being of higher grade, still provided considerable experience. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongxiu has risen to level 13, attributes improved. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongying has risen to level 13, attributes improved. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongtao has risen to level 13, attributes improved. Such fast leveling. Seeing the golden light of leveling up flashing on Hongxiu and the others, I was greatly delighted. The main purpose of coming to join this frontline offensive was to level up my residence, to handle the void thunder-devouring beasts soon coming to the territory. From 12 to 13 was only one level, but the offensive was only at its second wave now, with 8 more to come. As the waves progressed, the calamity beasts' levels would keep rising, and the experience from killing them would naturally rise along with it. With 127's calamity beasts temporarily cleared, there was no need to worry too much for a while. So I turned my gaze to the other side, position 126. But no sooner had I looked over than 126 started signaling with flags too. Support. Attack. Receiving the signal, I immediately gave the order again. Hongxiu, Hongtao, Hongying, Ruby Scatter Shot. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A great sheet of ruby arrows swept toward 126 like red locusts. Thunk, 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 thunk. The rotting knights and rotting skeletons, ferocious and menacing 1 second before, became experienced the next. The lords at 126 fell into a collective stupor too. What level of fire support is this? Terrifying. Don't tell me a great lord made the move. Oh my goodness. Why use a cleaver to kill a chicken? The arrow rain was only halfway through and the calamity beasts had all gone down. By the time the arrow rain finished, these calamity beasts still owed a bar of blood. On the other side, Hongxiu, Hongying, and Hongtao, having again feasted on a wave of experience, leveled up once more. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongxiu has risen to level 14. Attributes improved. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongying has risen to level 14. Attributes improved. Congratulations, your Meru clanswoman Hongtao has risen to level 14. Attributes improved. Their strength improved once more, and they were quite happy too. Wow, I got stronger again. Me too. When we get back, we've got to give Annie Hongzhuang and the clan chief a big surprise. Hee hee. I watched their jubilant looks and smiled knowingly. As archers, along with their attribute gains, their range would rise correspondingly too. An archer's range was generally calculated as the strength attribute times 10 meters. Now their strength had reached 46, meaning their range came to 460 meters. Adding the talent that boosted range by 30%, the effective range came to 460 times 1.3 is equal to 598 meters. This made me feel the appeal of the archer profession all the more. As their levels kept rising, I wouldn't say much more, but a range reaching 1,000 meters could be called easy. By then, wherever they just stood on the battlefield, everything within a 1,000-meter radius would be their hunting ground. The enemy would most likely be shot dead without ever laying eyes on them. Time slowly slipped by. 126 and 127 finally managed to gather two more groups of calamity beasts, and both were swept clean by Hongxiu and the others. As the girls' levels kept rising, the lords at the two positions started scratching their heads a bit too. After all, strong support was good, but it was a bit too strong. The calamity beasts had finally gathered two more waves, and wasn't it hard for them? Running all that long way to attack the position with such painstaking effort, only to be stuck into hedgehogs, thunk thunk thunk, before they even got a chance to attack. If not for being on opposing sides, they'd even have started to pity these calamity beasts. And most importantly, the other positions all looked to be locked in furious, red-hot battle, and yet these two, while bored out of their minds, actually had the leisure to crack melon seeds. Ever since the second wave of the calamity beast assault began, you can clearly feel the Lord's pressure has risen a lot. Bing bing. Yes, quite a few positions have fired call for aid flares because of it. Fortunately, most positions still have strength in reserve, especially the positions where Hong Jian, Lin Xiao, Bu Yanyan, and Su Qingxue are, which still look quite relaxed. Bing bing. But by comparison, those few positions that fired flares, their situation should be not so, huh? Where are the calamity beasts? How is someone still cracking melon seeds? How did the fighting over here end too? This fast. Bing bing. Don't tell me this round of calamity beasts didn't attack position 126. That's possible, because the neighboring position 127 seems to have been resting for a while too. But that's not right either. Their nearby positions, 116, 132, 137, 141, these are all still in bitter fighting. Bing bing. Then it's not quite normal. In such a small area, the calamity beasts shouldn't be singling out these two positions to spare. It really is strange. The camera switched. Let's set the puzzle aside for now and keep watching the situation at other positions. Position 197. The crowd who'd finished the diplomacy mission returned. Brother Yin, aren't you too fierce? You nearly scared them to tears. Ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. At first they even looked down on our support. Then one wave of arrow rain went down, and I felt like I saw their souls leave their bodies. Their dumbstruck looks, I still can't help it thinking back on it now. Ha ha ha. Since I'd harvested that much battle merit and 197's overall ranking had risen, they were naturally quite happy. On top of that, they'd gotten to play the fox borrowing the tiger's might in front of the lords at the two positions, which was happiness among happiness. And for me, being able to harvest a big wave of experience through it, my mood was quite lovely too. Just then someone's eyes rolled and he licked his lips. Brother Yin, there's something, I don't know if I should say it or not. Let's hear it. It's just, heh. I feel like you handle these calamity beasts pretty effortlessly, Brother Yin. So I was thinking, maybe we contact a few more positions. No sooner had the words fallen than someone cursed. I think you've gone off the deep end. Have you even thought about it? The other positions are so far away. Can Brother Yin even reach them? At those words, the one who'd made the suggestion was instantly dumbstruck. Seems right too. Everyone burst into laughter at once. After all, everyone had thoughts like this. The more battle merit I harvested, the more their position's ranking could rise along with it. But the idea was unrealistic in the end. My archers having a range of 400 or 500 meters was already quite considerable. But the neighboring positions, like 116 and 132, were at least 1,000 some meters in straight line distance from 197. At that distance, no matter how high my 3 archers' damage, it was beyond reach. Yet I didn't refuse. After a moment's thought, I said with a smile, "It's not that it can't be done. We can contact them and see first. If they're willing, I've got no problem with it." Really, everyone's eyes went wide. My answer was truly beyond expectation, because saying so meant I had a way to provide support. But how exactly? Right now, both 126 and 127 needed my attention, and contacting the farther 116 and 132 would make 4 positions. Not to mention the latter 2 were so far. But seeing my composed, unruffled manner, they really couldn't voice their doubts. After all, this was someone with a battle record to his name, and heaven knew what trump card he might pull out. "Since Brother Yun has spoken, leave it to me." A girl with surging waves patted her chest and took on the task. With someone stepping forward, the others wouldn't be outdone and voiced their positions too. "Me too. Me too." And so, without even really resting, the group who'd just returned set out again. But this time, no reply came from them for a long while. Soon, the second wave of the Calamity Beast tide ended, and the third came surging in. Compared to the second wave, the third hadn't really expanded in scale, but its strength had clearly risen. The most intuitive sign was that the Calamity Beast's average level had gone up. The first 2 waves had been mostly level 1, but now they were all at least level 3. This change clearly increased the pressure on each position further. I, on the contrary, was quite glad to see it, because it meant the Calamity Beasts could provide more experience. In any case, with the average level rising from 1 to 3, the health increase wasn't much, and for Hongxiu and the others, what got insta-killed still got insta-killed. Before I knew it, the third wave had passed too. The group who'd gone to 116 and 132 still had no news. This made me a little worried whether something had happened to them along the way. Boom, 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 boom. The war drums sounded a 4th time. The 4th wave of the Calamity Beast tide struck. In this wave, the Calamity Beast's level rose again, from an average of level 3 to level 6, and the number of rotting knights increased once more, making up 1/3 of the Calamity Beasts overall. This multiplied the pressure on all positions along the line. Along with a faint hum, every position on the line was enveloped by a faint purple glow. Looking closely, one would find the purple glow came from runes flickering faintly on the ground, and these runes were part of a formation being constructed. That's right. Since the nation had chosen these positions and set up the overall line, it had naturally made certain defensive deployments, and formations were the key among them. The battle formation now activated was called the Ziwei Heaven Returning Formation. While the Ziwei Heaven Returning Formation lasted, it boosted stamina and energy natural recovery by 100% and continuously slowly healed targets within the formation. But even so, the lords at many positions still had a hard time coping. Position 116 at this moment. Damn, the level rose to 6, the health bars got thicker again, and it takes forever just to kill one. Stop your damn yammering. My Iron Wall Warboar's been eating damage this whole time. Can you all pull your weight and deal damage for me? Am I not dealing damage? My Blaze Clown's daggers are practically swinging up smoke. Stop bickering. This offensive's intensity is clearly off. The last 2 years weren't this hard. A Steel Wall Warboar at 3 o'clock got broken through. Earth Flow Mage, hurry and patch the defense. And you all, what are you standing there for? Get moving. Just because it's not our position you can't help? What good does it do you if we go down? In their urgency, the 116 crowd set their sights on the people from 197 who'd come to negotiate. The few from 197 were quite displeased. They'd come to negotiate full of hope, thinking they could quickly reach a consensus. But they hadn't expected that the moment the 116 people heard they were from 197, they'd all show varying degrees of contempt, even suspecting them of wanting to leech battle merit and experience. Now that the pressure was up and they couldn't win, they thought of them again. Though quite displeased, since it concerned me after all, and the final merit too, they still held their noses and said, "Didn't we tell you? As long as you nod and agree to let us support from range, the firepower will arrive at once." Agree, agree. Hurry, hurry. The lords of 116 said impatiently. It's this late, and you're still on about this. Have you got any sense of the big picture? My comrade rolled his eyes and didn't bother anymore. In any case, they'd finally gotten the other side's permission. So, Just as before, they raised the flag semaphore. On the other side, Homeshio, relying on her astonishing eyesight, saw the semaphore and relayed it to me. Finally settled. I stood up, summoned 17 lightning sparrows, and pointed at 116. It's on you, Shanshan. Wipe them all out. Chirp. Shanshan nodded excitedly and led her companions to rush to 116 at top speed. But at 116 by this time, the two sides had already come to words. The ranged support you promised would arrive at once. Where is it? Just wait. You're in such a hurry now. Where was that earlier? Weren't you the ones who hyped up the ranged support to the skies? Huh. What insta-kill? What arrow rain? And now? Where's the arrow rain? Where's the insta-kill? We told you to wait a moment. Can't you understand? What do you take us for? Come when called, leave when waved off. Don't we need time to prepare? Enough. If you can't, then forget it. Hearing you brag like this, someone who didn't know would think your position had a great lord holding court. Damn. If I hadn't promised Brother Yun, I'd honestly want to throw down the load and walk off right now. What a piece of work. Go, go, go. You're an eyesore. No help at all. All you can do is brag. The few from 197 were all beside themselves with anger. Perhaps because the pressure of fighting the calamity beasts was too great, the 116 people had had no good attitude toward them from the start. Now that the so-called ranged fire support was long in coming, they began sneering and jeering one after another. But what was most depressing was that they themselves had grievances they couldn't voice. After all, it was I who'd sent them to negotiate, and I'd clearly said support could reach. But by what method? They really didn't know, and they still didn't understand just what kind of arrangement I had on my end. They waited anxiously, and time became extraordinarily slow. 1 second, 2 seconds, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 1 minute. The lords of 116 no longer had any heart to mock people. Facing the rotting skeletons and rotting knights that couldn't be killed no matter how many they killed, seemingly endless, they were already at their wits' end. The 197 people, waiting and waiting without a reply from me, simply joined the battle together too. Their combat strength was weak, but in the current situation, 1 bit of strength was 1 bit. As for their words with the 116 lords, that was set aside for now. Before the big picture, everything else was a small matter. Seeing this, the lords of 116 grew a few shades more complex in expression. Having barely held on through another minute, a lord from 197 suddenly caught sight of the lightning sparrows out of the corner of his eye. It's the lightning sparrows, he cried out. But the other lords were concentrating on handling the frontal battle and had no heart to pay attention, even thinking he was hallucinating. Yet the next second, they heard the lightning sparrows' cries. Chirp. Immediately after, 17 lightning sparrows, purple-black all over, arrived above their heads. Before they could react, chirp, crackle, crackle. Chain after chain of lightning strung all the calamity beasts together. The lightning chains burst forth concentrated, of astonishing brightness, nearly blinding people. When their vision recovered, everyone shockingly found the calamity beasts had all fallen to the ground, smoking black. Holy crap! The heck? What the actual? Everyone was dumbstruck, shocked and delighted at once. Shocked, naturally, by the lightning sparrow's power, and delighted that this group of calamity beasts had been wiped out, the pressure that had nearly suffocated them instantly dispersing. Ha ha ha! The lords of 197 burst into laughter. It's Brother Yun. It must be Brother Yun. See that? This is the ranged support we told you about. Ranged support, late, but it arrived. Convinced or not. But the lords of 116 weren't impressed. Dying of laughter, it's whatever you say it is. Does your brother Yun even know the lightning sparrows are his residents? I think it's clearly some great lord who saw our pressure was high and gave us a hand. By the way, you keep going on about Brother Yun this, Brother Yun that. Who is Brother Yun anyway? Being told this, the lords of 197 grew a bit uncertain too. After all, they really hadn't seen me summon the lightning sparrows. But someone believed firmly all along. So he asked the lightning sparrows, "Did Brother Yun send you to support us?" Chirp. Shanshan thought for a brief moment, then nodded toward the direction of 197. Chirp. See that? The lords of 197 suddenly swelled with momentum. Now there's nothing more to say, right? On the other side, congratulations, your lightning sparrow leader has risen to level 4, attributes improved. Congratulations, your lightning sparrow leader has risen to level 5, attributes improved. Congratulations, your lightning sparrow has risen to level 4, attributes improved. Congratulations, your lightning sparrow has risen to level 5, attributes improved. Listening to the leveling up notices coming into my ears one after another, my heart was just so satisfied. The lightning sparrows were different from Hongxiu and the others after all. Hongxiu and the others, being of the Meru clan, could gain experience and even advance grades just by eating big radishes. But the lightning sparrows could only gain experience through battle. Before coming, their level was only level 3. But precisely because their level was low, leveling up was surprisingly fast. Just clearing out one group of calamity beasts, and they collectively rose 2 levels. And there was no need to worry too much about damage output either. Their level was low, and their grade among my residents could only count as passable, but there were a lot of them. A level 3 lightning sparrow had 16 points of wisdom attribute. Its skill lightning chain, with a skill coefficient of 180%, could deal 16 by 180% equals 28.8 damage to a single target. If there were only one, the damage would really be quite limited, unable to hurt a rotting knight, let alone even a rotting skeleton. But there were 17 lightning sparrows, led by Shan Shan. As long as the damage areas coincided, they could burst out a total of 28.8 times 17 is equal to 489.6 damage. Damage like that, even a level 6 rotting knight couldn't withstand. Just as I was thinking, Hongxiu reminded me that someone at position 132 had raised the semaphore requesting support too. I immediately recalled the lightning sparrows from range, then summoned them again and sent them to 132. But this way, the lords of 116 wouldn't have it. Hey, where are the lightning sparrows? How'd they leave? Weren't you supposed to support us? Just this one wave. You can't do this. Help a person to the end. See the Buddha off all the way to the west. The lords of position 197 were tickled into laughter. Didn't we already support you? Wiped out a whole group for you in one go. And it's still not enough? Buddy, weren't you looking down on us before? How'd your attitude change so fast now? Haha, studied Peking opera. Know how to do face changing, huh? Faced with their mockery, the lords of 116 had nothing to say. They had indeed looked down on the so-called ranged support before. After all, coming from 197, how strong could their strength be? Not properly guarding your own position, running over here to talk cooperation. Any normal person would find it off, right? It was only when they truly couldn't hold on just now and desperately turned to any doctor in a crisis that they'd let them try to support. But you don't know until you try, and one strike had wiped out all the calamity beasts clean. Where do you go to reason with that? If you were this fierce, you should have said so. Playing the pig to eat the tiger here, deliberately watching us make fools of ourselves? Brother. A lord of 116 stepped up to get chummy. Though the positions we're responsible for are different, isn't the fundamental goal all to hold the line? If we can't hold, it affects you too. Besides, you don't help for free either. Experience, merit, don't you get a share of the pie? Any way you slice it, it's mutually beneficial. How about this? Brother apologizes to you all, and you be the bigger man and don't hold a petty person's fault against him. Show some leniency. How's that? With things said to this extent, the lords of 197 went along down the slope with the donkey. After all, the one truly putting in effort was me, and they only ran errands and couldn't make the call. What's more, the guy wasn't wrong either. Before a matter of great principle like a front-line offensive, the little friction between the two sides really couldn't be put on the table. Position 132. I'm just saying, is it necessary? Isn't it just asking 197 for a little help? Do you have to throw down the load like this? Can you have a bit of a sense of the big picture? The lords admonished her amid all their busyness while fighting. Behind them, a twin-tailed girl sat on the ground in a huff, face twisted to one side, written all over with displeasure. No matter how the others persuaded, she stubbornly wouldn't open her mouth, and the 6 fist firestones beside her didn't join the battle either. Bam! A muffled thud, and a treant responsible for holding off the calamity beasts in the front row was knocked back several steps by a rotting knight's charge, nearly falling over. Seeing this, the lords in the rear instantly broke out in a row of fine cold sweat on their foreheads. Thank goodness the treant hadn't been knocked over directly, or the formation would have been breached. This can't go on. With Huahua's fist firestones not fighting, we're way short on damage output. Damage output can't keep up, the calamity beasts keep gathering more and more, and my trent's under too much pressure. My healing can't keep up either, the health line's about to slip. Huahua, get moving. What good does the position collapsing do you? Are you trying to get us all killed? The girl sitting on the ground, named Huahua, pouted and said as if venting, I told you not to call for aid, but you insisted on it. You'd rather trust 197 than me? Now that you can't hold it back, you think of me? Serves you right. You. The crowd was choked with anger. Hua Hua, as 132's main carry, wanting to reap more merit and experience alone that they could understand. But the problem was, under this wave of the Calamity Beast assault, the pressure the position faced was clearly a good deal greater. Granted, the lords guarding 197 couldn't be too strong, but at a time like this, one bit of help counted as one bit. After weighing it back and forth, they'd agreed to 197's support, never expecting Hua Hua would just throw down the job over it. About how long until your support arrives? Unable to do anything about Hua Hua, they could only cast their hopes toward the lords of 197. It should be soon. The lords of 197 answered while fending off the Calamity Beasts, but there was some uncertainty in their tone. Because 132 was too far from 197, not something an ordinary archer could reach at all. They also weren't clear on just what method I'd use to support. And in fact, from raising the semaphore until now, nearly a minute had passed, and there'd been no movement from my end the whole time. As soon. Hua Hua sneered. You actually take the support they talk about seriously? I'll put my words right here. If their support can solve the problem, I, Li Linghua, will eat crap standing on my head. No sooner had she said it than her gaze halted. In the air, she'd seen a group of purple-black figures. Lightning sparrows? Whose? Amid her puzzlement, that group of lightning sparrows flew straight toward her location. Before the crowd could react, electric light erupted from them, and they unleashed chain lightning at the Calamity Beasts in unison. Zzzt, zzzt, zzzt. Crackle. After a series of dazzling arcs, the Calamity Beasts that had been lively and kicking a moment ago all fell smoking to the ground. This, Li Linghua was struck dumb. The other lords looked at the Calamity Beast corpses on the ground, then all looked toward her in unspoken accord, their eyes full of strangeness. That line she'd said just now, they'd heard it clear as day, still ringing in their ears. The fourth wave of the Calamity Beast tide finally passed. The fifth wave hadn't risen much in overall strength. But even so, it still caused quite a few lords to lose combat capability. Losing combat capability here means their residents were too badly injured to continue fighting. In such cases, sustaining the position could only rely on the nation's pre-prepared reserve corps stepping up. Though the corps soldiers weren't lords, having undergone rigorous training, their strength and endurance could reach at least 8 points, and combined with low-grade Calamity Beast armaments, they could exert considerable combat strength too. With the soldiers' help, the fifth wave of the Calamity Beast tide was safely weathered too. Next, at the sixth wave of the Calamity Beast tide, the situation suddenly turned bad. Compared to the fifth wave, the sixth wave's Calamity Beasts, though still only the two kinds of rotting knights and rotting skeletons, had risen to level 10. The pressure multiplied. Under their impact, many positions along the line began to teeter. The reserve corps soldiers had to reinforce once again, and only then barely held off this wave's assault. But with the offensive reaching this point, even ordinary people could see something was wrong. Isn't this Calamity Beast tide too strong? We're only at the sixth wave and the reserve corps is already 80% committed. How are they going to fight later? Why do I have a bad feeling? The counterpush the United Front Work Department talked about probably can't be achieved. The line might even get broken through. No, my home is less than 5 kilometers from the line's position 156. If the line collapses, my home is gone. Ace. This year's Xiangsha frontline Calamity Beast intensity is clearly higher than last year by more than a notch. We're only at the sixth wave now, and nearly a third of the positions along the line can't hold. Bing bing. The situation is not optimistic. Ace, the Reserve Corps' forces are currently nearly 80% deployed, and they've only barely maintained the situation. We don't yet know how the United Front Work Department will handle things going forward. Bing bing. The United Front Work Department has always planned before acting. Surely they've long prepared corresponding countermeasures this time too. Ace, at least every previous frontline offensive had great lords holding court, but this time we haven't seen their figures. Bing bing. Do you mean, Brother Ace, that they're carrying out some other mission? Ace, highly likely. After all, this Xiangsha frontline's offensive intensity is clearly abnormal. The sixth wave's intensity is already equivalent to a ninth wave of the past. Bing bing, indeed. If the next Calamity Beast tide keeps strengthening, it could very likely reach the intensity of a 10th wave of the past, with grade C rotting sorcerers appearing. Ace, if rotting sorcerers appear in the 7th wave, then the subsequent battle situation is really hard to predict. Bing bing, right. Rotting sorcerers can provide group buffs to rotting knights and rotting skeletons, and they themselves sit at the far rear of the Calamity Beast Tide, extremely hard to target. Ace, that's still secondary. The key is, if rotting sorcerers come out in the 7th wave, then there are 3 more waves after. What degree will the Calamity Beast Tide's intensity reach? Bing bing. Thinking of it that way really is worrying. But all we can do now is trust the United Front Work Department and trust the Lords fighting hard along the line. Ace, let's cheer them on together. The 6th wave of the Calamity Beast Tide, with the Reserve Corps' assistance, and the weak points along the line finally barely pulled through again. But by this point, even the Lords with strength to spare began to clearly waver in their will to fight. Those who could become Lords were naturally no fools. If the 6th wave was already this hard, how would they fight what came after? Barely holding on, they might just hand over their little lives. Granted, dying for one's country was glorious, but when it really came to that moment, not everyone could summon that kind of resolve. At this very moment, viewers across the Great Han Nation were heavy-hearted too. This Xiangsha Frontline Offensive livestream, because the United Front Work Department had spoken beforehand, declaring this time they planned a one-time counter-push, had drawn a massive audience. Every person of the Great Han Nation had a heart set on reclaiming lost land. But as the offensive dragged on, everyone's mood went from high spirits at the start to lower and lower. The current situation was clear. The Calamity Beast Tide grew stronger wave by wave, and the Lords responsible for defense at many positions were already clearly overwhelmed. If it continued, a position could collapse at any moment, even a total line collapse. If the line collapsed, it would undoubtedly be a great catastrophe. The Calamity Beasts breaking through the line would madly ravage the currently relatively stable human habitats, doing enormous harm to present human society. Many of the older generation had lived through the dark period of a line collapse, and just thinking of all that from those years made them shudder. And the younger generation had, to varying degrees, heard bits and pieces from their elders' mouths. Bearing heavy hearts, the viewers heard the dull drumbeat coming from the livestream screen. The 7th wave of the Calamity Beast Tide, striking. In the dense black Calamity Beast Tide, what appeared first was still the rotting skeletons. But their figures didn't last long before being covered by the faster rotting knights. The rotting knights crossed over the rotting skeletons and came to the very front of the Calamity Beast Tide. Seeing this, the viewers' hearts sank again. The number of rotting knights had grown again. But if it were only this, it was still within acceptable range. No one dared even breathe heavily, continuing to stare at the Calamity Beast Tide on the livestream screen. Layer after layer, stack after stack. The shot swept past who knows how many rotting skeletons and rotting knights, and finally came to the end of the Calamity Beast Tide. Seeing the Calamity Beasts at the end, many viewers' hearts skipped a beat. How could this be? Rotting sorcerers. How are they showing up in the 7th wave? How do you fight this? Is the line really going to collapse? Oh heavens! In that instant, people felt like the sky was about to fall. Rotting sorcerers, grade C, came innately with a corruption aura talent that could continuously heal rotting knights and rotting skeletons while also enhancing the corruption effect of their attacks. But that wasn't the main point. The main point was that rotting sorcerers often hid in the very rear. To attack one, you had to first cross the rotting skeletons and rotting knights ahead, or else directly dispatch assassin-type monsters to forcibly slay it. Otherwise, the Lords had to fight the Calamity Beast Legion while bearing the buff bonus of the rotting sorcerer's aura. But the Calamity Beast Tide was already extremely intense, and with the rotting sorcerer's buffs on top, the Lord's odds of victory dropped straight to freezing point. Rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. The sound of propellers appeared. Over a dozen Calamity Beast armed aircraft appeared. Seeing this scene, hope sprouted in people's hearts again. Have the Great Lords come to reinforce? They've finally appeared. If there are enough Great Lords to deal with the rotting sorcerers in time, then there's still a fight. I said long ago, trust the United Front Work Department. Lords, attention. Lords, attention. Lords with ranged support capability. Within your means, please prioritize attacking the rotting sorcerers at the rear of the Calamity Beast Tide. Lords, attention. Lords, attention. Lords with ranged support capability. Within your means, please prioritize attacking the rotting sorcerers at the rear of the Calamity Beast Tide. Lords, attention. Lords, attention. Lords with ranged support capability. Within your means, please prioritize attacking the rotting sorcerers at the rear of the Calamity Beast Tide. The repetition over and over left the Lords at each position silent. At the same time, The viewers fell silent too. Even Bing Bing and A's, the battle commentators, fell silent. No parachutes. No great lords. No support. Only a broadcast. Only a broadcast. Only a broadcast? Letting the lords deal with the rotting sorcerers themselves? Are you kidding me? The viewers were furious. What is the United Front Work Department doing? The Great Lords? Where did the Great Lords go? Within the Great Han Nation, besides the Great Lords permanently stationed in various places, there are at least 30 more Great Lords that can be mobilized. What are they off doing? This is treating the lords who came to this Xiangsha front line as less than human. Poor kids, they're still so young, and they have to suffer this. Position 197. I quietly finished listening to the broadcast coming from the Calamity Beast armed aircraft, raised my hand, and began to summon. Swish, swish, swish. 5 figures appeared before me. Grade B, Wind Thunder Eagle Leader, Guagua, and its 2 companions. Grade A, Meru Clan Chief, Hongya. Grade A, Meru Clan Guard Captain, Hongzhuang. Immediately after, I mounted Guagua and instructed, Hongya, Hongzhuang, get on the Wind Thunder Eagles and follow me. Squawk. Guagua let out a cry and carried me up into the sky. Behind it, the other 2 Wind Thunder Eagles carried Hongya and Hongzhuang. Stand high, see far. On the Wind Thunder Eagle, the battle situations at nearby positions were all in view. The Calamity Beast tide was still some distance from each position at this point, so I first flew toward the nearest position 126. At the same time, combat power sync, Hongya. I silently chanted in my heart. The combat power sync completed instantly, and the panel data immediately changed. Name, Zhou Yun. Age, 18. Identity, Lord. Level, 5. Strength, 41 plus 74 plus 3 times 120%. Endurance, 35 plus 58 plus 3. Wisdom, 40 plus 62 plus 3. Spirit, 32 plus 52 plus 3. Speed, 47 plus 90 plus 3 times 120%. Talent, none. Equipment, Gale Sword. Normal skills, Detection, Combat Power Sync, Leader Promotion, Teleport, Full Army Swift Assault. Extra Mastered Skills, Meteor Descent, Grade A. Hongya and Ashui were both Grade A, but her base attributes were a small notch higher than Ashui's. On top of that, when I'd first met Hongya, she was already level 20. Over these days of eating big radishes, she'd risen 2 more levels, reaching level 22. And although she wasn't a hero, she had a hero's growth attributes. A Grade A monster gained 8 attribute points per level, but she, like the Grade A hero Wuji, could gain 16 attribute points per level. With the level boost, her attributes were already catching up to the currently level 11 Wuji. After the combat power sync, my current strength attribute came to 141.6 points, which meant my shooting range reached 1,416 meters. As long as I had a bow and arrows, I could kill Calamity Beasts from range 2, just like the Meru clan. Soon, we arrived at position 126. 3 big birds suddenly flying down out of nowhere gave the lords of 126 quite a fright. But when they saw me, Hongzhuang, and Hongya on the birds' backs, the expressions on their faces began to turn to astonishment again. Are you, lords, or? Their tone was full of uncertainty. Because of the 3 of us, only my appearance was of a normal person as they knew it. As for Hongya and Hongzhuang, though both had the look of great beauties, those fuzzy big ears looked nothing like fakes any way you saw them. But calling them residents didn't add up either. Whose residents look like humans? They'd sooner believe they were bunny girls cosplayed by lords. Only, cosplaying at something as serious as a frontline offensive, the more you thought about it, the more it seemed a bit devil-may-care. To their doubts, I didn't explain much, just said roughly. Came from 197. Does any of you have a bow? A bow. Perhaps cowed by my composed air, the lords didn't overthink along their earlier curiosity, but went looking for a bow first thing. Yes, I have one. A somewhat bashful-looking male lord trotted up and offered a longbow and quiver with both hands. While handing over the bow, he also stole several glances at Hongya and Hongzhuang. Hongya and Hongzhuang, one a clan chief and one a guard captain, how keen were they? They immediately noticed his behavior and then returned friendly smiles. As a result, the male lord's face flushed red in a flash, and he ran back with his head lowered. I smiled knowingly and thought nothing of it. After all, Hongya and Hongzhuang were indeed beautiful, and it wasn't strange at all that they'd attract the opposite sex. I took an arrow and knocked the bow, narrowed my eyes, aimed at the Calamity Beasts that had entered range, and then slowly drew the bow. Snap! A crisp sound, and the bowstring actually snapped. I looked at the bow in my hand and blinked. This bowstring, how did it just snap? The lords looked at me and blinked too. This bowstring, how could it just snap? Buddy, what kind of strength do you have? It's fine, it's fine. I have a better one here. That male lord from before ran up again and once more offered a bow. This time, he kept his head lowered the whole way and didn't dare look at Hongya and Hongzhuang again. And the other lords had no objection to his behavior either. A bow, not expensive as such, but not cheap either, and an ordinary person would surely feel the pinch if it broke. But being drawn to snapping was different. A bowstring, was that something an ordinary person could snap? Put another way, how could someone who could snap a bow be ordinary? That was absolutely a powerhouse. A powerhouse snapping a bow was the bow's honor. After thanking him, I took the bow and was about to keep trying, but was interrupted by Hongya. Lord, if you intend to shoot arrows, an ordinary bow likely can't meet your requirements. Use mine. Saying so, she spread her hand open, red mist appeared, and a bow entirely like a ruby was generated out of thin air, exactly like the ones the Meru clan used. Then she did the same again, making some arrows, and replaced the ordinary arrows in the quiver. It could be done like that? Now not only were the lords stunned, even I hadn't expected it. The Meru clan's arrows were one thing, but even the bows were mana-generated? Seeing them always carry the bows on their backs, I thought they were craftsmen made too. And what surprised the lords even more was that, although they couldn't understand the language Hongya spoke, Hongya could actually speak. That meant Hongya and Hongzhuang weren't bunny girls cosplayed by lords, but that their races were just this image themselves. For a moment, envy nearly overflowed from their eyes. Able to speak, high wisdom, and beautiful on top of that. This was simply the resident every lord dreamed of, especially for male lords, even if such a resident had no combat strength. Just looking was a feast for the eyes. But I didn't know what was on their minds. At this moment, I'd already drawn the ruby bow Hongya gave me and aimed at the group of calamity beasts less than 1,000 meters from the position. Whoosh! A ruby arrow flew out and hit a rotting knight right at the very front. Lord, fine archery. Hongya and Hongzhuang showed surprise on their faces and couldn't help clapping. In the eyes of the two archery experts, that I, as a layman, could hit a target at such a distance was indeed quite good. However, for the other lords present, after they raised their eyes and gazed into the distance, they couldn't help rolling their eyes. At such a distance, at least 800 more meters, you can't even see clearly, and here you are putting on a show, for whom? Even if you could see clearly, do you have the arm strength to shoot an arrow that far? Really, you probably don't even know where you shot the arrow yourself, right? Even more absurd, the two bunny girls are clapping for him. Sigh, what a waste. The good cabbage all got rooted up by the pig. Feels good, I said to myself, hands not stopping, and continued to loose several arrows. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Having loosed several arrows, I nodded in satisfaction. Though it had been a while since I'd shot arrows, a little adjustment, and I'd found the feel again. At this moment, I hadn't noticed in the slightest that the lords beside me were nearly rolling their eyes up to the heavens. Showing off. Keep showing off. One arrow wasn't enough, and you shoot so many. That's about enough. Keep going and we'll expose you. The male lords thought this in their hearts. After all, with the two beauties Hongya and Hongzhuang present, they didn't want to lose face. But the female lords? At such obvious showing-off behavior, did they have nothing to say? The male lords looked strangely toward the female lords beside them, only to see them with both hands clenched into fists held to their chests, eyes shooting stars as they gazed at me. Wow, so cool. Hearing their soft cries, the male lords nearly couldn't hold it together. Good grief. They'd thought this guy was just showing off in front of the two bunny girls, but who'd have known? We were only on the first level, while he was on the third. In the span of a few arrows, off guard for one moment, and our homes got poached. Fortunately, I stopped after loosing a few arrows and didn't keep going. Hongya, Hongzhuang, let's go. Yes. The three of us rode the wind thunder eagles and left. When I'd been there just now, for some reason everyone felt the aura was very strong, so almost no one had spoken. Now that the person was gone, the male lords' voices grew louder. Quick, quick, quick. Get ready to defend. The calamity beasts are almost here. No idea what that guy came for, holding things up so long. By the way, wasn't it the people from 197 who've been providing us arrow rain support all along? Could it be him? Enough, stop overthinking. Do the job in front of you. Everyone returned to their posts at top speed and stood ready in full battle array. Every person's eyes were fixed tightly on the calamity beast tide. Closer, closer still. Suddenly, everyone's gaze went blank in unspoken accord. Because in the calamity beast tide, The few rotting knights charging at the very front had, plain to see, ruby arrows stuck in them. No one said it aloud, but everyone was shocked inside. Because when I'd shot the arrows just now, they couldn't even see the calamity beast tied clearly at all, only a blurry outline, at least 1,000-some meters away. And I not only shot that far, but hit. Every single arrow had struck a rotting knight's helmet. Though the hit positions weren't consistent, at such a distance it was already extremely exaggerated. Someone even started counting on their fingers. A 1,000-meter range without special bonuses requires 100 points of strength to provide, which means his strength is at least 100 points. That's monstrous. Having gotten this result, even the male lords who'd been rather sour toward me a moment ago were now convinced. As for the female lords, needless to say, their hearts held some regret. Had they known, they should have mustered the courage to ask for contact info just now. In the sky, Hongye, Hongzhuang, and I, riding the Wind Thunder Eagles, had already come to the rear of the calamity beast tide. Concentrate fire on the rotting sorcerers. My gaze had locked onto the target, and I gave Hongye and Hongzhuang the order. No sooner had the words fallen than a ruby arrow shot out. Clang! The arrow was blocked by a rotting knight. My expression unchanged, I continued shooting. The rotting sorcerer was an extremely special existence among the corruption-type calamity beasts, receiving the focused protection of the corruption-type calamity beasts, so the arrow being blocked was no surprise at all. If one arrow didn't work, just take a few more. Guagua was quite in tune with people, and seeing one of my arrows go awry, it immediately made a sharp turn, adjusting position so I could hit the target better. Whoosh! Another arrow shot from my hand. This time, the arrow successfully struck the rotting sorcerer. The rotting sorcerer's health bar instantly dropped by half. I nodded slightly. Though the rotting sorcerer had very strong buffs for the corruption-type calamity beasts, its own body was very fragile. Even without the boost of archery skills, I could take out a rotting sorcerer with 2 ordinary arrows. Such kill efficiency was actually already very high. However, compared to Hongye and Hongzhuang, there was still an enormous gap. In the span, I'd lose 2 arrows. Hongye and Hongzhuang had each already killed 3 rotting sorcerers. With their attributes and archery, combined with skills, killing fragile units like rotting sorcerers was practically child's play. Seeing them return to rendezvous with me, I waved my right hand and ordered again, split up. Clear the rotting sorcerers at the rear of the calamity beast tied along the line. Understood. Hongye and Hongzhuang answered and rode the Wind Thunder Eagles swiftly away. The Wind Thunder Eagle, being a grade B flying monster, while maintaining altitude, the calamity beast tide, which currently had only ground combat units, couldn't pose any threat to it at all. And the Wind Thunder Eagle could rely on its flight advantage, timing the skill cooldown to lower its altitude and hit the dense calamity beasts with a Wind Thunder charge. This way, not only could Hongye and Hongzhuang, as riders, gain experience by killing calamity beasts, the Wind Thunder Eagles could reap experience too and thus level up. Having cleared the rotting sorcerer's attacking positions 126 and 127, I flew right after toward the calamity beast group attacking position 116. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Reaching the target location and quickly clearing 3 rotting sorcerers, the gray corruption aura enveloping the calamity beast group immediately vanished. The lords of 116 were all stunned together. The corruption aura vanished. What's going on? A rotting sorcerer didn't suddenly drop dead of a heart attack, did it? Be serious, no jokes. Who cares? In any case, it's a good thing for us. The corruption aura's disappearance greatly boosted everyone's morale. Corruption-type calamity beasts with the corruption aura and those without its boost were on completely 2 different tiers. As long as the corruption aura didn't appear again, this 7th wave's intensity wasn't much stronger than the 6th, and they could absolutely hold on again with the lightning sparrow's help. Squawk! The Wind Thunder Eagle's cry drew the attention of the lords of 116. Only then did they discover there was actually a Wind Thunder Eagle in the sky. What shocked them even more was that there was even a person on the eagle. Brother Yun has come. The lords of 197, still lingering at 116 and assisting the defense, jumped up excitedly on the spot. Because they'd been keeping their attention concentrated on the calamity beasts on the ground, plus with lightning sparrows flying back and forth in the sky, they hadn't noticed me. Likewise in the sky, just now. It must be Brother Yun who killed the rotting sorcerers. Absolutely. Brother Yun's here. No accidents. Brother Yun? The lords of 116 looked toward the rapidly descending Wind Thunder Eagle, their gazes very complex. The words, Brother Yun, You could say their ears had grown calluses hearing them this while. But if the lightning sparrows really were his residents, plus this grade B wind thunder eagle, then this Brother Yun's strength, they really couldn't muster the doubt. Brother Yun, how come you're here? The moment I landed, the lords of 197 came up to greet me. Can I entrust a task to you all? My tone was somewhat serious. This task is very important, and only you all can complete it. Everyone's faces immediately turned grave. Brother Yun had a task to entrust to them, and a very important task, one only they could complete. What on earth could it be? Brother Yun, say it. We guarantee we'll complete the task. Everyone gritted their teeth and brought out their full drive. Though the time in contact hadn't been long, everyone had been completely won over by my strength. Very good. I nodded. This task is, return to position 197, hold the position, and ensure it isn't breached by the calamity beasts. Hold the position, us. The Lord of 197 pointed at himself, both surprised and moved. Surprised that I would actually entrust the task of guarding a stronghold to them. Moved by the trust in my words toward them. Their strength, they themselves knew all too well. To evaluate it in 2 words, that was weaklings. The bottom of the barrel existence among the lords participating this time. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been assigned to position 197. Even assisting the defense at 116 just now, they clearly knew the role they played was negligible, and much of the time, out of lack of confidence, they'd even made blunders commanding their residents in battle and held others up. Yet at this moment, I'd said such words to them. This made their feelings turn very strange. If a slightly weaker lord had said this to them, they surely wouldn't have felt anything. After all, a person is precious for having self-awareness. What strength do we have? Guard a position? Are we worthy? But said from my mouth, the nature was completely different. Because I was strong enough, fierce enough. This was a powerhouse who could single-handedly clear a calamity beast group, and even charge straight into the sky above the calamity beast group to snipe rotting sorcerers. Is having them guard a position, that was recognition of them. Therefore, in this moment, a few shades of the impulse that a man dies for the one who knows him rose up in them. Rest assured, Brother Yun, a male lord said with an excited tone. Go take care of your business with peace of mind. Position 197, we'll hold it no matter what. The other lords grew emotional along with him. The task of guarding the position, leave it to us. For the calamity beasts to breach the position, only over my fallen body. I nodded heavily. Since that's so, everything is entrusted to you all. And the few brothers at position 132, call them along too. Completely understood. Watching the lords of 197 leave, the lords of 116 really wanted to laugh. Though they'd only fought in coordination for that brief little while, it was already enough for them to see just how weak the lords of 197 were. Put bluntly, about their departure, the lords of 116 didn't feel the least bit of regret. Better that they left. Keeping them around was rather in the way instead. Just this bunch of weakling lords, actually swearing up and down to go back and guard the position. How could it not make one want to laugh? Position 197 just happened to have a superior geographical location and couldn't be attacked by the calamity beasts first thing. But should the calamity beasts really come knocking with the likes of them, it'd be a wonder if they could hold. Yet knowing this, none of them said anything aloud, even forcibly holding back their laughter. While not revealing a trace of a smile, the expressions on their faces even carried a few shades of solemnity. The reason was simple. I was standing right there. You could say all the other lords of 197 were duds, were weaklings. But this one was truly formidable. The lightning sparrow flock, one wave of chain lightning could clear the calamity beasts, and those were his residents. He himself, just now, had flown 2 circles in the sky and killed the rotting sorcerers outright. The poor rotting sorcerers hadn't even truly begun to fight. It was as if I'd directly slain the enemy's chief general before the 2 armies had even formally clashed. A person like this, you really couldn't afford to offend. Even facing his comrades from 197, they didn't dare be too casual in their attitude. Otherwise, one wrong move, and if he pulled the lightning sparrows away, that'd be a huge mess. Without the lightning sparrows, there'd be no fallback, no greatest reliance, and what the hell would they guard with? Seeing me mount the wind thunder eagle again, a lord asked cautiously, Brother Yun, are you going to support other positions? I nodded. Going to lend what meager effort I can. Meager effort. The lords of 116 were collectively mortified. Then, this flock of lightning sparrows. Oh, Shanshan and the others will stay in this area and assist your defense. I said offhandedly. The lords of 116 instantly felt relief in their hearts, and smiles began to blossom on their faces. That's good. That's good. Take care, Brother Yun. Safe travels, Brother Yun. See off, Brother Yun. Even though it was the fierce moment of battle with the calamity beasts, they actually gave me a salute of attention in unison, seeing me off as I left. Squawk. Having dealt with the rotting sorcerers at the 4 surrounding positions, I gathered with Hongye and Hongzhuang in one spot, and we set off together toward the somewhat farther position 112. After reaching the place and just preparing to start clearing the rotting sorcerers, it so happened that a distress signal flare rose from position 112. I had Guagua fly closer to see that. Although the two sides had only just begun fighting, the residents under many of 112's lords had already sustained varying degrees of injury. Clearly, having held on through the previous several waves of battle, they'd already reached their limit and had to apply for rescue. At this moment, unwillingness was written all over each of their faces. Unless absolutely forced, they truly didn't want to call for aid. Calling for aid meant the reserve corps would intervene. That way, the patrons who'd been following this frontline offensive would surely directly pass on everyone at this position because of it, even though their possibility of getting sponsorship was low to begin with. Besides that, the distress signal flare was extremely conspicuous, and very likely the livestream cameras were already filming them at this point. So many positions, other positions not calling for aid, only they calling for aid, their weakness would leave an impression in the viewers' minds. More importantly, according to the rules, all the merit they'd gained while participating would be halved. That was what hurt most. Participating in a frontline offensive wasn't the main thing after all, just for the merit. But they couldn't hold on. Really couldn't hold on. Merit was very important. Money was very important too, but surely nothing was more important than life. If they still didn't call for aid and kept persisting, they might very well lose their lives because of it. So however unwilling, this flare, they still sent it out. Watching the rising flare, all of them felt relief in their hearts. Next, as long as they held on a little while, waiting for the reserve corps support, they'd have it easy. But the unexpected happened. 3 red flares rose simultaneously from the rear of the line. Seeing these 3 red flares, the lords of 112's faces instantly went deathly pale. Besides them, the lords of other positions' faces also turned ugly. Many viewers watching the live stream even stood right up because of it. What? The reserve corps has no one left. No support? How do we fight this? Even position 112 has called for aid. They can't hold on. Brothers, there's no reinforcements. We can only rely on ourselves. Fight. After a brief daze, a burly lord of 112 stood up and roared in fury. Fight? Fight with what? Ammunition and provisions are exhausted. The bit of mana my slug beast just recovered has already been used up on healing. The residents are too badly injured. They really can't fight anymore. Keep fighting and we'll really lose everything we've got. As lords, when it finally comes to it, we can teleport away, but dead residents can't be revived. The lords of 112 spoke one after another, each expressing their powerlessness and helplessness at the current situation. However, they all turned their gazes toward the Calamity Beast group in unspoken accord, their steps slowly moving forward too. One thing at a time. Merit was to be earned, life was to be preserved, residents were naturally to be kept if they could be, which was why they called for aid. But now the reserve corps was empty, no reinforcements, so what to do? Then they could only rely on themselves. Because the line couldn't collapse. 1,000-Li dike, destroyed by an ant hole. The line was a single line, and though position 112 was merely one position on it, 1 point falling would affect the whole situation. This sinner, I won't be it. Even if I throw in all my residents, I won't retreat. Steelfang beast, bring out your last strength. Please. Little Goldie, little Silvery, go. We charge together. Chocho beasts. I've wronged you. But charge. In this moment, the more than 300 million people of the Great Han Nation all choked up. The lords of 112 had guessed right. Their distress flare had indeed immediately drawn the cameras. More than 300 million viewers were watching them at this moment, all seeing their difficult plight. Everyone saw this Calamity Beast tide's intensity with their own eyes, and even if they really did flinch because of it, no one could actually speak words of blame. They'd all done their utmost. The residents all gravely injured, the lords themselves not lightly wounded either, and continuing to fight risk their lives at any moment. A group of young people not even 20, they'd done well enough. Everyone only blamed the United Front Work Department. Why hadn't they foreseen this Calamity Beast tide would be so ferocious? Why hadn't they prepared enough reserve troops? Why hadn't they allocated the combat strength for each position well? Why? Too many whys. All to censure the United Front Work Department. Only no one would go blame this group of lords of 112. Everyone had even prepared themselves for the position to collapse under the Calamity Beast Tide's impact. However, what no one expected was that this group of lords, having already given their all, upon learning there were no reinforcements, actually prepared to make a final desperate stand. Children, come back. Don't do something foolish. You fools. While the Green Mountains remain, there's no worry about firewood. What are you doing? What on earth are you doing? Knowing full well they couldn't hear, some still couldn't help crying out. At this very moment, the United Front Work Department's Minister Kushodong said not a word, staring intently at the screen, his expression still solemn and calm. Minister. The Chief of Staff beside him prompted in a low voice, but Kushodong only responded with one word, watch. The people beside him were all mystified. Watch. Watch what? Watch them go die? They were lords, not soldiers. Just then, they found the screen lighting up with red light. Immediately after, a fiery red object appeared at the top of the screen. Looking at the shape and outline, it seemed to be a meteor? No. If there were a meteor, the Meteorological Bureau should have warned long ago. This was definitely not a natural meteor. Then, at position 116, all the lords were drawn by the scorching heat suddenly coming from overhead. Looking up, an enormous meteor was trailing a black-red flame tail, falling diagonally toward this side. Behind it, a man clad in black rode atop a wind thunder eagle, sword extended forward, as if the meteor's guide, drawing it down to the earth. That man clad in black was none other than me. Boom! The meteor crashed thunderously down into the Calamity Beast group, flames and rubble splattering, thick smoke rolling. The lords blocked in front of their faces with their arms, quickly seeking cover. When the commotion passed, and everyone came back out to look, they found that beneath the smoke, on the scarlet ground, there was nothing but the remains of Calamity Beasts. The lords of 116 were dumbstruck. The viewers were shaken too. Even the ever-calm Kushodong at the United Front Work Department had the corner of his eye twitch a couple of times. The might of the meteor, reaching such an extent? Looking at the range the meteor's descent affected, even if the Calamity Beast group's numbers were 3 times more, they'd all be wiped out the same. Minister, this. The Chief of Staff pointed at me in the sky, unable to speak for a long while. As a staff officer of the United Front Work Department, he'd seen no shortage of prodigies and naturally experienced no shortage of shocking scenes. But how old were those prodigies? How old was I? I'd become a lord not even a month ago. Combat strength like this, was it reasonable? Good. Kushodong suddenly slapped his thigh hard and stood up. Well done. Excellent. The staff officers beside him were given quite a fright. Goodness, suddenly bellowing so loudly out of nowhere, you'll be the death of us. Across the Great Han Nation, the viewers watching the live stream began to cheer too. Off the charts awesome. Domineering. What are the Calamity Beasts so wild about? One meteor wiped you all out. Great lords really are fierce. One move, and they wiped out the Calamity Beasts. At the critical moment, it's got to be a great lord after all. Trusting the United Front Work Department was right. All these years, when has anything ever gone wrong? This time's no exception either. What's this great lord's name? How does he look so young? Right? With strength this strong, how do I not have the slightest impression of him? After the first batch of people finished shouting, someone finally explained meekly, uncles and aunties, that one isn't a great lord. He's this term's rookie lord. Huh. In the live stream room, Ace, as commentator, was spraying spittle and gesturing wildly. Who could have thought? Who could have thought that just as the lords of 116 were about to march valiantly into battle, Lord Zhou Yun stepped forward at this very moment. A fire meteor descended from the heavens, smashing through the gloom the Calamity Beasts brought, and smashing out the Lord's hope and fighting spirit. Just as it goes, where the firmament splits a flame dragon descends, sweeping away the demonic miasma till all seas are clear. How heroic! How magnificent! I declare, from this moment on, I am Lord Zhou Yun's faithful fan. Bing bing, cough cough cough. Brother A's put it so well. Lord Zhou Yun's move this time is truly both surprising and delightful. So in Brother A's view, was this a follow-up move deliberately arranged by the United Front Work Department? A's, cough. This well. While the commentary continued, gold swords crashed down one after another, and an unbroken stream of dragon-shaped Danmaku came roaring in. Tianyu Pharmaceuticals gratuitously sponsors Lord Zhou Yun, 10,000 gold coins. Qiangxing Group, gratuitously sponsors Lord Zhou Yun, 30,000 gold coins. Hengshuan Real Estate gratuitously sponsors Lord Zhou Yun, 20,000 gold coins. Kongdao Armaments gratuitously sponsors the Lords of Position 116, 10,000 gold coins. Squawk. The Wind Thunder Eagle let out a muddy bird cry, carrying me flying off into the distance. The Lords of 116 gazed at my departing figure, unable to snap out of it for a long time. So powerful, so composed. A wave of the hand, and he'd shattered the Calamity Beast group that had driven them to a dead end. Was this the bearing of a powerhouse? Phew. Flames rose up from the depths of their eyes. The weak of spirit had no chance at all of awakening to become a lord. And as lords, who among them didn't have a dream of being a powerhouse? The Great Han Nation was not without powerhouses. Those great lords, even pillar-grade lords, every one was incomparably formidable. But only I was of similar age to them, the closest in distance, and the most staggering. Him. He was the one they had to chase after. In this moment, the lords present, male and female alike, couldn't help clenching their fists, the fervent blood in their hearts surging, roaring, "Lord Zhou Yun, you're strong. So we'll chase your figure with all our might. Until one day, we surpass you." The livestream camera, ever since it landed on me, hadn't left, but kept following me as I advanced. The viewers had questions, the livestream commentators had questions, the United Front Work Department staff officers had questions too. That was, what was Zhou Yun going to do? The strength he displayed was very strong, but he was just one person. On his own, to what extent could he accomplish anything? From the flight path, Lord Zhou Yun seems to be heading toward the nearby position 103. Bing bing. The Lords of 103 have already engaged the Calamity Beast group. Though they've gotten support from the Reserve Corps, since this Calamity Beast camp has extra rotting sorcerers, the battle situation on both sides is still extremely locked in a stalemate. Could Lord Zhou Yun be preparing, like just now, to bring down a meteor again, aiding position 103 in shattering the Calamity Beast tide? Bing bing. If that's the case, it doesn't seem like a very good choice. Exactly. Though I'm Lord Zhou Yun's faithful fan, I have to say, if he did this, it'd actually not have too positive an effect. Bing bing right. Position 103 isn't without the power to fight. Lord Zhou Yun's intervention could of course clear the Calamity Beast group, but it'd also put them in a state of having nothing to do, equivalent to wasting their combat strength. Not only that, the skill Lord Zhou Yun used just now should be the grade A Meteor Descent. As is well known, the more powerful the skill, the higher the mana cost. If used frequently, one quickly falls into a state of mana depletion. Bing bing. Lord Zhou Yun has arrived on scene. But he didn't act? The ones who acted are the two archers following behind him. What? What happened? The corruption aura enveloping the Calamity Beast group vanished. Bing bing. It's the rotting sorcerers. The rotting sorcerers were sniped. Incredible. The rotting sorcerers, protected layer upon layer by the Calamity Beasts, were actually killed just like that. Bing bing. The rotting sorcerers' roughly 300 points of health were instantly cleared. If the arrows they shot just now were some kind of skill, considering the skill multiplier, their strength attribute is at least 60 points. As the residents under a rookie lord, 60 points of strength, while not bad, isn't too remarkable either. What's truly absurd is the range. Bing bing, the range, noticed it? Taking the nearest Damo Ridge, the main peak of Yuchi Mountain, as reference, Damo Ridge's elevation is 777.5 meters, so the altitude where those two archers are is at least 1,000 meters. Bing bing. A range of 1,000 meters. This represents that their strength attribute reaches at least 100 points. Exactly, that's the key. If it were low-altitude shooting, it would necessarily put the Calamity Beast group on guard, making them strengthen their protection of the rotting sorcerers. But at an altitude of 1,000 meters, the Calamity Beast group had no defense at all. Bing bing. No wonder the rotting sorcerers were killed so easily, so the key is here. Yes. The difficulty of killing rotting sorcerers has never been in the damage, but in how to get around their guards. From this point, the two archers under Zhou Yun are simply their bane. United Front Work Department command post. Beautiful. Seeing the rotting sorcerers killed with ease, Kushodong couldn't help giving a light praise. The staff officers beside him nodded again and again too. Neither arrogant nor rash. Lord Zhou Yun's temperament is nothing like a young person's at all. Haha, were it me, with strength like this, I'd wish for nothing more than to release Meteor Descent on cooldown to wildly boost my presence. Which is why you and Zhou Yun is Zhou Yun. Killing 2 rotting sorcerers with 2 arrows and then leaving, both helping position 102 and not stealing the show. The measure was just right. I recall, at last time's rookie trial, these 2 archers didn't appear, right? More than that, these 3 Wind Thunder Eagles didn't appear either. So in just these 7 days, he's recruited so many more skilled hands. Haha, my 6th sense tells me he's still hiding some. Still hiding at this point? I think you're overestimating him, no? 3 grade B Wind Thunder Eagles, plus 2 archers at least grade B, a lineup like this, with a little cultivation, that's another great lord. And he's still hiding. He's still got the Mystic Earth Bear and that mount under him unreleased. He's only been a lord a few days, and he's got hands full of grade B. It really makes one's heart ache. Kushodong laughed. Stop being sour, you all. By the intuition of one who's been there, the strength he's displaying now is not even a third of his. If he really brought it all out, forget you all, even I'd have nothing but envy. Speaking of which, putting him at position 197 was meant to have him hide his edge, keep him from drawing the cult's attention. But it looks now like gold really does shine wherever it is. Hiding just won't do. The chief of staff agreed. The tree that stands out in the forest, the wind will surely destroy it. Revealing one's edge fully does invite setbacks. But among the renowned powerhouses in history, which one didn't cut their way out from a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood? In the end, the outstanding tree is destroyed by the wind only because it isn't outstanding enough. As long as one is outstanding enough, even a level 8 Gale is just a silver-plated little sausage. Kushodong stood up, clasped his hands behind his back, the light in his eyes growing brighter. The reason the cult repeatedly sends their young master charging at the very front is precisely to give him enough tempering. Although doing so gives their young master an extremely high death rate, and there's a suspicion of raising goo, one has to admit, it's a very effective method of forging. But our great Han nation is not a cult after all. While we let potential-filled lords bloom their edge, we must also ensure their safety and be their solid backing. Convey my order. Recall great lords Gumeng Ru and Xiao Shan to secretly protect Lord Zhou Yun. There must be no mistakes. Yes. The chief of staff turned and left. The eyes of the others suddenly burst with a keen light. The 2 great lords Gumeng Ru and Xiao Shan had exceptionally outstanding strength, and in this frontline offensive had taken on the important task of penetrating deep behind enemy lines and annihilating the cult. At this moment, Kushodong suddenly recalled them. Did this represent? Next, at an extremely fast speed, I supported one position on the line after another. If the lords responsible for guarding a position could barely cope with the Calamity Beast group, I'd only snipe the rotting sorcerers. And if the lords responsible for guarding a position were fighting extraordinarily hard, with a trend toward defeat and retreat, I'd choose to directly clear out the Calamity Beast group. That's right, clear out. Meteor Descent was only one of the means I used to clear out Calamity Beast groups. A 500% fire attribute damage coefficient, paired with my current 105 points of wisdom attribute. No Calamity Beast that had appeared could withstand it. Besides that, Hongya and Hongzhuang's Ruby Scattershot was no pushover either. With the 3 combined, no matter who acted, they could clear the field with ease. But I left more of the opportunities to the 3 Wind Thunder Eagles. Hongya and Hongzhuang's levels were, after all, high, and the experience gained from killing these low-level, low-grade Calamity Beasts was limited. My using Meteor Descent myself was largely a matter of experimentation too. So for each field clearing that followed, I tried my best to let the Wind Thunder Eagles do it. This way, the Wind Thunder Eagles' dominance once again refreshed the public's understanding. The 3 Wind Thunder Eagles combined, using Wind Thunder Charge, were like 3 meat grinders. Ramming in from the Calamity Beast's front row, whoever they rammed died, ramming all the way to the rotting sorcerers in the back row, with no obstruction existing at all. Under the watch of Hongya, Hongzhuang, and me, they had even less to worry about being surrounded by the Calamity Beasts. Just like this, running through a dozen-plus positions in a row, the 3 Wind Thunder Eagles' levels all rose to level 16. Name: Wind Thunder Eagle Guagua. Identity status: Resident Leader. Category: Monster. Grade: B. Level: 16. Strength: 24 plus 23 plus 3. Endurance: 30 plus 26 plus 3. Wisdom: 6 plus 4 plus 3. Spirit: 7 plus 5 plus 3. Speed: 33 plus 30 plus 3 times 120%. Talent: Wind Thunder Wings. Speed increased 20%. Skill. Wind Thunder Charge. Simultaneously condenses wind thunder power around the body, charging in a spindle shape, dealing strength attribute times 300% damage to targets along the path. Description: fond of dwelling in high places, rarely stops in plains or low-lying areas, unless there's food it favors there. I took a moment to glance at their stat panels and made a slight adjustment to their positioning. Before, judging from their skills, I thought they could take on the role of Vanguard. But currently, based on their growth attributes, I felt that, benefiting from their talent, they had a more obvious advantage in mobility, and positioning them as high-speed assassins. Using them as assassins was more suitable. Of course, since I now had the Meilulu clan under me, and the Meilulu clan's archers had sufficient supply of big radishes, I estimated the whole clan would soon reach Grade A. At that point, Grade A would become my main combat force. Whether strength, endurance, wisdom, spirit, or speed, Grade A crushed Grade B across the board. So even positioning the Wind Thunder Eagles as assassins, their chances of appearing as assassins still wouldn't be many. More often, rather, they'd appear in the identity of flying-type mounts. However, it was exactly these three flying mounts that once again sparked heated discussion among the vast viewership. Wow, Lord Zhou Yun has way too many elite troops and fierce generals under him. 3 Grade B Wind Thunder Eagles, and on a battlefield like this, they can actually have an overwhelming showing. Are you joking? Those are Grade B. What did you think? Some random riffraff. Killing these Grade E, Grade D calamity beasts isn't a slaughter. Isn't that right? The grade gap is right there. The growth potential differs by a huge margin. Of all the many rookie kings taking the battlefield this time, it seems Lord Zhou Yun's lineup is the most luxurious. That's true indeed. Of those 3, Hong Jian, Lin Xiao, and Bu Yanyan, Hong Jian's residence should be the most outstanding, and that's just 1 Grade B Tyrant Dragon Beast. This is the norm. Where would monsters Grade C and above be so easy to recruit? Speaking of it, every time Lord Zhou Yun makes a move, I get a strong sense of detachment. How so? It's like he and the other participating lords are completely not on the same layer. +1. Couldn't agree more. The 7th wave of the Calamity Beast Tide was successfully held off. The Calamity Beast Tide's assault came to a pause, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief. After the 7th wave, only 3 waves remained. Before, everyone had felt they had no confidence, but now they'd mustered their spirits anew. Because my presence was too strong. The official livestream room tallied that in the 7th wave, I'd supported 62 positions cumulatively. In total, I'd annihilated 34 waves of Calamity Beast groups and sniped 136 rotting sorcerers. These were 3 incomparably astonishing figures. Because the entire line had only 197 positions in all, I, one person, had covered nearly a third of the positions. As long as I kept exerting effort and my mana, stamina, and energy could keep up, the line holding through the 8th and 9th waves was no problem at all. As for the 10th wave, there was at least an 80% chance of getting through safely too. Almost everyone felt the situation was excellent. I too returned to position 197, landed, and began to rest. Hongya, Hongzhuang, and I actually didn't really need to rest, at most having expended some mana. But the 3 Wind Thunder Eagles, continuously carrying us in flight while also fighting, had their stamina drop severely. Guagua. Guagua cried while nuzzling my arm. Not just it, the other 2 Wind Thunder Eagles were watching eagerly too. You want more to drink? I smiled and took out 3 more bottles of AD calcium milk. That's right, they actually liked drinking AD calcium milk. This too was discovered by chance only a few days ago while the flash-freezing rainstorm continued. Slurp, slurp, slurp. The 3 Wind Thunder Eagles didn't speak, just drank their milk with heads down, their eyes narrowed into slits from too much enjoyment. I gently stroked their heads, my gaze turning toward the distance, lost in thought. The 7th wave of the Calamity Beast Tide, and a third of the line was about to fail to hold. Now the 7th wave was over, but there were still 3 waves behind. Limited by the Wind Thunder Eagle's stamina, I couldn't provide support at such high intensity anymore. So what on earth was the United Front Work Department doing? I was very curious. I didn't think the United Front Work Department was incompetent. The Great Lords hadn't appeared to this point, and the small number of reserve troops both seemed very unusual. Since they hadn't appeared on the line to assist in guarding positions, they must have been dispatched elsewhere. So, where had they gone? Just then, a rat-a-tat-tat sound came from overhead. The Calamity Beast armed aircraft appeared again. Attention all lords on the line. Attention all lords on the line. In 5 minutes, according to the beacon's indication, advance towards Xiefeng Mountain. Repeating once. In 5 minutes, according to the beacon's indication, advance towards Xiefeng Mountain. What? Hearing the order, many lords' blood nearly froze. Counter-push? Now, how to counter-push? Push with what? Counter-pushing meant leaving the position, advancing against the calamity beast tide. But right now, even relying on the strongholds, without support they couldn't stop the calamity beast tide. Once they left the strongholds, wouldn't they be drowned by the calamity beast tide in an instant? The lords racked their brains without understanding. But there was one point they believed without a doubt. The United Front Work Department would absolutely not toy with their lives. Since it had been decided to counter-push, there must be something to rely on. On this, the more than 300 million Great Han people watching the livestream had the same thought. The frontline offensive said from the start that a counter-push was planned, and the current decision fully matches the plan. Right? It shows this is all within the United Front Work Department's expectations. It seems impossible, but it should just be that we're missing some key information, and in reality, it should be a sure thing. Target Xiefeng Mountain. Xiefeng Mountain is within Huaihua's borders. Does that mean this counter-push can recover Huaihua? The United Front Work Department hasn't had an offensive like this in a long time, so I think it's 9 out of 10. Are we finally going to recover lost territory this time? Tearing up. How many years has it been? Is our Great Han nation's territory finally going to expand again? Don't be too quick to get excited. Steady your mindset. It's not too late to cheer at the moment of success. If this time we really can recover Huaihua, all consumption at my bar within a month gets 30% off. My restaurant gets 50% off within 2 months. Everything in my supermarket costs nothing, all free. Gone mad. Ha. Mad indeed. My ancestral home is right in Huaihua. 5 minutes came quickly. Though the lords had much they didn't understand, they'd all packed up their gear and begun to advance. At this point the calamity beast tide still showed no movement, but everyone remained very cautious. The lords of each position huddled tightly together, advancing while on guard. Woo. A special flare, trailing a golden flame tail, flew from east to west towards Xiefeng Mountain. A golden path was marked in the sky just like that. This was the marching direction the United Front Work Department had given. Should we walk a bit slower? Yeah, if we walk fast, it'll be hard to rendezvous with the main force later. Based on position ordering, we should be at the very rear of the main force, right? The lords of 197 chattered back and forth, speaking as if casually, but their gazes glancing now and then toward me at the very front. Hearing this, I suddenly stopped. The moment I stopped, the other lord stopped too. Advancing toward the beacon's position, we'll probably rendezvous with the lords of other positions soon, right? Everyone was mystified, and before they could speak, they heard me continue. I plan to go to the very front of the main force, to open up the way for everyone. Do you want to come along? Damn. Everyone's hearts jolted in unison. So I'd walk so fast because I actually harbored such a thought. Before, it was stronghold combat, and the calamity beast tide, to break through the line, would fight to the death against the defensively equipped strongholds. But now everyone had left the strongholds, so once they encountered calamity beasts, they'd enter field battle directly. Field battle and stronghold battle were completely two concepts. On the line, because of the existence of each position, the calamity beast tide could be broken up into pieces, devoured in batches by each stronghold. But out in the field, the calamity beasts wouldn't go one-on-one with you. Once a lord had an outstanding showing, the calamity beast's instinct would drive them to group up and prioritize dealing with the outstanding lord. In other words, the stronger the lord, the more they'd be focus-fired by the calamity beasts. So although I'd put it subtly, everyone understood. I was clearly going to the very front to draw fire for everyone, to open the way for everyone. For a moment, everyone's eyes filled with admiration for me. Whether one had strength was one matter, whether one had responsibility was another. Much of the time, responsibility, compared to strength, could win people's approval more. But admiration was one matter, and reason was another. My strength was strong enough, in their eyes almost rivaling a great lord, and leading the main force forward with such overwhelming strength was no problem at all. But they couldn't. They had self-awareness. They were too weak. Forget comparing to me. Even compared to the lords of neighboring positions, their strength fell short by a huge margin. Me leading the team, fine. But if they followed to the very front of the main force too, it was equivalent to storming the gates of hell. That was 9 deaths and 1 life. Even 10 deaths and no life. I'll go too. A male lord slowly raised his hand, even trembling as he spoke. Brother Yun, take me along. In an instant, everyone's puzzled gazes all concentrated on him. You'll go too? Is your strength enough? Gone mad? Courting death? Good. I nodded in agreement. Then let's go together. Me too. A female lord raised her hand as well, her body even shaking. I'll go too. Everyone was even more puzzled. A male lord getting hot-blooded for a moment was one thing, but a female lord getting so worked up too? For what? Yet it wasn't over. A third lord raised her hand, still a woman. Compared to the first two, she was much more composed. She raised her hand, then took a deep breath and slowly said, I know I'm weak, but I'll try my best not to drag you down, Brother Yun. But if something happens to me, could you lend a hand within your ability, Brother Yun? Of course. I smiled and nodded. We're comrades. Comrades. Everyone felt some detonation point and their hearts instantly ignited. The blood throughout their bodies began to boil and rampage. Understood. All understood. If I wanted to go, I could just go myself. So why ask everyone? Because in my eyes, everyone was a comrade. I wanted to give everyone a boost. As strong as I was, could I not know that bringing them along was a drag? Yet I still asked. Laughable, that they were still being timid and hesitant. As a lord, if you were weak you hid in the back, which naturally could preserve yourself to the greatest degree. But upon meeting a big brother like this willing to bring you along, if you didn't cherish it, didn't seize the chance, that was truly foolish. Follow along, follow Brother Yun, and dangerous as it was, once you could survive, the gains would surely be unimaginable. Brother Yun, trouble you, count me in. Sorry for the trouble, Brother Yun. Take me along too. Me too. I'll go too. Then let's all go together. I readily agreed. Going to the very front to kill calamity beasts could gain experience to the greatest degree. But because the coverage range of area attack skills was limited, the situation would inevitably arise where some calamity beasts were crippled but not dead and needed a finishing blow. In such a situation, having my own residents deliver the finishing blows was undoubtedly the worst choice. Finishing off crippled enemies could gain full experience and merit just the same. Fertile water shouldn't flow to others' fields. That being so, these comrades of 197 naturally became the first choice. With a clear direction, everyone, with me at the head, accelerated forward, passing quite a few teams along the way. The lords of those teams all cast admiring gazes at them. After all, being able to rush to the very front under such circumstances, setting strength aside, their courage first and foremost was worthy of approval. Unknowingly, the lords of 197 each became upright and chest out. At a glance, they really did have a few shades of the look of elite lords. Soon reaching the very front, I ran into an acquaintance. Fu Yinjie. I was slightly surprised, not expecting Fu Yinjie to actually appear among the lead teams. And by the looks of it, he was even this team's leader. Brother Yun. Fu Yinjie was overjoyed. How come you're here? I smiled. I originally planned to take the lead charge, but if you all have the same idea. Before I'd finished, Fu Yinjie waved his hands again and again. No. If it were another lord coming, we definitely wouldn't yield this position. After all, our position 5's overall strength isn't weak. But since Brother Yun has come, we're willing to yield the position and play support for you. No sooner had the words fallen than some people in Fu Yinjie's team showed displeasure and began muttering in low voices. But someone quickly suppressed all these voices. This Brother Yun is this term's rookie king, Zhou Yun, the powerhouse who solo killed the cult's young master and the Calamity Beast chief. Even Su Qingxue was overshadowed by him. Are you sure you want to contend with him? Soon, Fu Yinjie's entire team fell silent and reached consensus. Taking the lead charge, dangerous as it was likewise an opportunity. Because this position received the most attention, had the greatest probability of being on camera, and could most draw the patrons' notice. If they performed well, sponsors would most likely throw money at them. But now, since the one coming to grab the position was me, though unwilling at heart, they could only yield the position. I myself naturally didn't decline, and led everyone to the front of the formation to continue advancing, ready to meet the 8th wave of calamity beasts at any time. At this point, behind us, Fu Yinjie was doing his best to placate his teammates. I know everyone's an expert, with strong strength, but since everyone elected me as captain, please trust my judgment. Brother Yun taking the lead charge, though it'll steal everyone's thunder, will also lower everyone's danger to the minimum. And after all, we're following right behind them, counting as a frontline team too, so we won't lose too much on merit either. This way, We're essentially trading a small amount of merit for more safety, which I personally feel is quite worth it. What does everyone think? Let's hope so. Humph. More safety? I don't see it that way. I just worry that when the time comes he can't hold, and we still have to step up, then it'll be a joke. A small number of people were clearly unconvinced, making snide, sarcastic remarks. They reckoned they wouldn't be my match, which was why they didn't contend with me for the position. But this didn't mean they thought their own team was weaker than the team I led. Being arranged by the United Front Work Department to defend Position 5 already said plenty. Fu Yinjia, however, didn't argue further. These people hadn't had contact with me, but he had personally witnessed me solo kill the Calamity Beast Shadow. If even the Calamity Beast Shadow could be solo killed, these low-level, low-grade Calamity Beasts, what did they amount to? What team or not team? He strongly suspected that this bunch I'd brought along, just like him, Mu Yu, Hua Xianwan, and Liang Kuan back then, were all pure tagalongs riding coattails. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Accompanied by a faint, dull sound, everyone felt a slight tremor in the ground. At the same time, the Calamity Beast armed aircraft in the sky issued a warning. Warning. The 8th wave of Calamity Beasts approaches, about 1,200 meters from the lead force. Please prepare for battle. Warning. The 8th wave of Calamity Beasts approaches, about 1,200 meters from the lead force. Please prepare for battle. Warning. The 8th wave of Calamity Beasts approaches, about 1,200 meters from the lead force. Please prepare for battle. 3 consecutive warnings instantly quieted the atmosphere of the formation, stretched out in a long single-file snake shape. Battle was about to begin, but every single lord present was experiencing field battle like this for the first time. No one had any confidence in their hearts. They could only pin their hopes on the lead force being tough enough. Only if the lead force drew enough Calamity Beasts could it reduce the pressure on the rear teams as much as possible. You keep advancing at pace, I'll go on ahead. Having said this, I summoned Guagua and mounted up. Before everyone could even react, Guagua had already flown up into the sky, flying toward the front. Huh. The lords of 197 were collectively dumbfounded. What's the situation? Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Field battle's about to begin, and the result is Big Brother left? Gulp. Everyone swallowed in unison. Though unclear on the specific reason, they still held considerable trust in me. From the direction I departed, I was by no means fleeing before battle. It was more like actively accelerating, going to meet the Calamity Beast tied head-on. Too crazy. But this wasn't the key part. The key part was, Big Brother wasn't at their side. So damn panic-inducing. Squawk. With Guagua's speed, I soon arrived above the Calamity Beast tide. The dark, dense mass of Calamity Beasts fell entirely within my view. Rotting Skeletons, level 15. Rotting Knights, level 15. Rotting Sorcerers, level 20. And the King of the Rotting type, the Rotting Emperor, Grade B, level 30. Welcome. A look of joy appeared on my face. A lineup like this was enough to fight. Enough flavor. Grade 2 low, experience was low. Level 2 low, experience was still low. So with grade unchanged, only when level went up could more experience be provided. And this was exactly what I was glad to see. After all, I had no small number of troops to train under me. After having Guagua lower its altitude, I swept my right hand. Come out, Mystic Earth Bear. Come out, Cauliflower Beast. Come out, Gold Devouring Rat. And you all, Water Swordsmen, Lightning Sparrows, Crimson Flame, Earth Dragon. All members of the Melulu clan. Swish, 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 swish. Beams of white light rose, and all of my stronghold's combat forces, except the slimes and the heroes, appeared right in front of the Calamity Beast tide. Before the Calamity Beast tide, like a surging wave, my combat forces looked like just a tiny cluster, like a lone boat amid the billows. But no one had the slightest fear. Instead, an intense will to fight rose up, especially Old Gold, whose golden pupils seemed to be emitting a substantial light. Me summoning the Lightning Sparrow clan to battle, it knew. Summoning the Wind Thunder Eagles to battle, it knew too. Summoning the Melulu clan to battle, it knew as well. Last time I'd summoned nearly all the residents in the stronghold, but hadn't summoned its gold-devouring rat clan, it knew that even more. It knew it all. It knew that it was because its gold-devouring rat clan was timid by nature that I tried my best not to let them fight. But it was unresigned. As fellow residents under a lord, other residents could. So why couldn't they, the gold-devouring rats? If they could, we can too. One day, we'll prove ourselves. And now, the chance had come. Whole army, swift attack. As I pointed my right hand forward, I activated my Lord's skill, and a pale cyan aura wreathed all my residents. Crop. No sooner had my command been issued than Old Gold had already taken the lead and charged forward. Single-handed, it launched a charge at the Calamity Beast Tide. Old Gold. My heart jolted. I hadn't expected Old Gold would actually lead the gold-devouring rats charging at the very front. Though in the general direction, I felt there'd be no danger. At the very start of engagement, one still had to mind formation. Pippi Dragon. Oshui. Hongya. Hongzhuang. Cover them. While issuing commands, I had Guagua pull up to a higher altitude. Looking down from on high, I saw the gold-devouring rats quickly overtaken by my other residents, and couldn't help breathing a sigh of relief. Aside from the slimes, of all my residents, only the gold-devouring rats had never leveled up. The current Old Gold was still only level 3, with a strength attribute of just 10 points, and its speed, the standout attribute, was only 23 points. But though they'd been overtaken, they didn't slow their pace. Instead, they sped up a bit more, as if they'd built up all their energy to compete with everyone for who was best. Since everyone was sprinting at full speed, they soon collided with the Calamity Beast Tide. Swish! The fastest, Oshui, flashed and charged straight into the Calamity Beast Tide. A water wave about 2 meters wide, like a sharp blade, cut open every Calamity Beast along the path, slicing them in two. This was exactly the skill Oshui mastered after evolving into a water sword hero, Calm Seas. The moment it started, it was a killing move. The other residents refused to be outdone. Whoa! Pippi Dragon roared, unfurling the fiery crimson flame domain, and its big tail swept fiercely, sending all the Calamity Beasts in the fan-shaped area ahead flying backward. Level 12 Pippi Dragon had an overwhelming advantage in strength against these Calamity Beasts. Roar! The 3 Mystic Earth Bears, Bear 1, Bear 2, and Bear 3, followed up, launching combo palm strikes. Once a Rotting Knight ahead was struck by a combo palm strike, it had no room to fight back. The palm strikes that followed, one after another, struck it into continuous retreat, and together with the Calamity Beasts behind it, they too were unable to continue advancing. 3 Mystic Earth Bears, 3 combo palm strikes, actually struck out 3 countercurrents in the surging Calamity Beast Tide. Crop! Old Gold finally arrived, leading the gold-devouring rats. Without even looking at whether the opponent was strong or where the weak point was, whether Rotting Knight or Rotting Skeleton, it just leapt up for a bite. However, forget Rotting Knights. Even against Rotting Skeletons, the health bars showed no obvious drop. 10 points of strength against a level 15 Calamity Beast Tide was too powerless. Old Gold was stunned for a moment too, clearly not having expected its own attack would be so useless, that it would actually have such a huge gap with its fellow residents, the Mystic Earth Bears and the Water Swordsmen. Though there was a grade gap to begin with, it still couldn't accept it. Once upon a time, they, the gold-devouring rats, had been the main force in conquering the Water Swordsmen. Even later when subduing Pippi Dragon, they'd put in great effort too. But now, how long had it been, and the gap between them and the other residents was actually already this big? Crop! It cried out, and began frenziedly attacking the Rotting Knight before it. Grab! Claw! Tear! Bite! The Rotting Knight's left hand had already come down to cover over it, but it acted as if it hadn't seen, continuing to attack. Its tough fur would block the attack for it. Even if it couldn't block, risking injury, it had to defeat the opponent. Only this way could it reap experience, could it grow, could it become stronger. As the gold-devouring rats leader, Old Gold's style undoubtedly influenced the other gold-devouring rats. They too, like it, ignored attacks, meeting attack with attack. Bam! A Mystic Earth Bear suddenly pounced over, and with one palm strike broke the Rotting Knight's left hand, sparing Old Gold this injury. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Arrows precisely struck the Calamity Beast's various parts, whether hands, or heads, or the Rotting Knight's mounts. Every arrow dismantled a Calamity Beast's attack on the gold-devouring rats, sparing the gold-devouring rats from harm. Zzzzzzzzzzz. Crackle. In the air, Shan led the lightning sparrows in releasing lightning chains. This time, their lightning chains weren't interwoven in the same area, but spread out. This way, the lightning chain's damage wasn't enough to directly kill the Calamity Beasts, but only crippled them. This way, the gold-devouring rats' continued attacks could finish off the last of the health bars, thereby gaining kill experience. Seeing this, Old Gold's attacks grew even more frenzied. Through its efforts, the Rotting Knight finally fell. A cluster of golden light suddenly rose from its body. It had grown stronger. Crop! It cried out. Besides ferocity, its voice also held much emotion and choking up. But it didn't linger, instead leaping onward toward the next target. Mid-leap, two crystalline droplets split in the air into two fine little strings of droplets. Every droplet was written full of gratitude. Congratulations, the gold-devouring rat leader under you has risen to level 4. Attributes have increased. Congratulations, the gold-devouring rat under you has risen to level 4. Attributes have increased. Congratulations, the gold-devouring rat under you has risen to level 4. Attributes have increased. Unbroken prompt tones appeared in my ears. Looking down at this scene on the battlefield from on high, I revealed a smile. I was very glad my residents could help one another. After all, residents had their own thoughts and wills. Residents' loyalty to their lord didn't mean conflicts wouldn't arise between residents. Examples of residents engaging in vicious competition to vie for favor were common. Fortunately, at least from the current look of it, I didn't have to worry about these. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. While thinking this, together with Hongya and Hongzhuang, I focused on the rotting emperor in the ferocious beast tide. The rotting emperor, as the strongest among the rotting-type calamity beasts, naturally had attributes high enough to go without saying. But facing the sniper squad formed by me, Hongzhuang, and Hongya, it still had to swallow its regret on the spot. Even a calamity beast chief, whose health was calculated at 100 times endurance, couldn't withstand our focus fire, let alone a rotting emperor that wasn't a calamity beast chief. After a brief period of chaos, my residents had been surrounded on all sides by the calamity beast tide. But I wasn't the least bit worried. The current situation looked dangerous, but in reality, my residents weren't being focus fired at all. The moment the calamity beasts surrounded them, their health bars were cleared. When the pressure got a bit greater, the lightning sparrow's lightning chains, along with the water swordsman's mirror flower water moon, would instantly clear a large swath of calamity beasts. If that wasn't enough, the Meilulu clan's ruby scattershot would step in. Still not enough, and there were still me, Hongya, Hongzhuang, and the 3 wind thunder eagles in the air. So, at a rough glance my residents had fallen into an encirclement, but in reality it was a meat grinder plunged into the ferocious beast tide. As long as stamina and energy held, the entire ferocious beast tide could be ground clean. In other words, it was just a matter of time. What's more, in the course of battle they were continuously leveling up, continuously growing stronger. But there was one point I couldn't quite make sense of. That was, my residents had protected the cauliflower beasts at the very center. And from the very start, the cauliflower beasts hadn't attacked at all. What was going on? The more I watched, the stranger it seemed. After all, even after the 7-day survival period ended and I returned to Earth to take part in the Rookie Lord trial, the cauliflower beasts had still been my main damage dealers. The current level 12 cauliflower beasts were of course a bit weaker compared to the Mystic Earth Bears and the Water Swordsmen. But compared to the gold-devouring rats, who'd started at only level 3, they were still much stronger. 23 points of strength, paired with their skill-spinning leaf blade, could deal a large amount of damage to calamity beasts too. Yet they eerily didn't act. When the charge began, they'd stayed at the very rear, and later simply hid behind everyone, protected in the middle by everyone, looking every bit like protected personnel. Could it be that from being trained by Ellie for so long, their temperament changed, and they've come to dislike fighting? This thought couldn't help springing up in my mind, because during those few days when the flash-freezing rainstorm continued, Ellie often took the cauliflower beasts to train. Ellie's temperament is fairly gentle, so the cauliflower beasts being influenced by her isn't too strange either. I reluctantly convinced myself, not fighting, then not fighting. In any case, from the current situation, there really was no shortage of the cauliflower beast's damage output. Just as I was about to take another look at whether any rotting emperors had been missed in the ferocious beast tide, my peripheral vision suddenly caught a streak of green light. Wait, green light. My gaze immediately locked onto Cauliflower 1, protected in the center. That streak of green light just now had risen from the leaf on Cauliflower 1's head. Before I could even doubt whether I'd seen wrong, another streak of green light rose from Cauliflower 2's head. Now I really couldn't make sense of it. The cauliflower beasts counted among my first batch of residents, and having gotten along this long, I really had never seen a situation like this. Fortunately, when in doubt, investigation. Name, Cauliflower Beast, Cauliflower 1. Identity status, resident. Category, monster. Grade C. Level, 12. Strength, 18 plus 5 plus 3. Endurance, 14 plus 5 plus 3. Wisdom, 8 plus 3 plus 3. Spirit, 8 plus 1 plus 3. Speed, 15 plus 2 plus 3. Talent, Vegetable Fruit Master. Harvest gained from planting vegetables and fruits plus 15%. Troop Type, Forest Guardian. Troop Skill, Blessing, makes the blessed target recover health equal to Wisdom attribute times 100% per second. Cooldown, 5 seconds. Skill, Spinning Leaf Blade, spins the leaves on its head, making them hard as blades, cutting the target. Loyalty, 100. Description, seemingly harmless, but actually conceals killing moves. Fond of eating vegetables, fruits, and slimes. I slightly widened my eyes. I'd never have guessed Ellie had actually trained the cauliflower beasts through. She'd successfully trained the cauliflower beasts into her hero troop type, Forest Guardian. And the Forest Guardian was actually a healing troop type. What a delightful surprise. Attack troop types, defense troop types, healing troop types. Among the 3 categories of troop types, the scarcest was the healing troop type. The other 2, especially attack troop types, there were simply all too many. But healing troop types, perhaps only one hero out of 100 could train them. Ellie was exactly a hero who could train out healing troop types. Though only grade C, considering it from this angle, saying her value rivaled grade B was no problem at all. Before, when I'd looked at the troop type introduction, the skill the Forest Guardian could master was Blessing, and I'd assumed the effect was some kind of attribute buff. I'd never expected this Blessing skill was actually a genuine health recovery skill. Recovering Wisdom attribute times 100% per second. Cauliflower 1 was a cauliflower beast, its attributes inherently leaning towards strength and endurance, with Wisdom not standing out. Even as the leader, at level 12 it still had only 14 points of Wisdom, which could be called pitifully little. But even with only 14 points of Wisdom attribute, under the Blessing skill, it could still recover 14 points of health per second. 14 points of health per second seemed very little, and over 10 seconds could recover only 140 points of health. But that was relatively speaking. In any battle, even now, the high-intensity, fierce battle surrounded by the ferocious beast tide, the residents weren't getting injured at every moment. They wouldn't slug it out head-on. They'd dodge, use skills, even block. Especially when their speed attribute had a crushing advantage, they could fully pass through the thick of 10,000 beasts without a drop of blood touching them. Just like Ashue right now. Relying on 46 points of speed, whatever rotting skeletons or rotting knights attacks simply couldn't pose any threat to it at all. The Calamity Beast's movements, in its eyes, were just like slow motion. Lethal threats in others' eyes, it could easily dodge by relying on its speed advantage. In such a situation, getting injured was almost equivalent to an accident. And the Cauliflower Beast's blessing was of course not enough to handle high-frequency injuries. But for handling accidental injuries, it was absolutely more than sufficient. Now I understood why everyone had spontaneously protected the Cauliflower Beasts. Because they were now serving in the healer position. Just then, the lords led by Fu Yinjia's team came belatedly and finally arrived at the fight. Kill. Charge. For the glory of the great Han nation. Follow close behind me. I'll open the way. Everyone shouted, colliding with the Calamity Beast tide in a completely disorderly fashion. I watched, shaking my head. Earlier, the single-file long snake formation had been set up so well. So how had the formation suddenly fallen apart the moment they saw the Calamity Beast tide? The contact surface between the two sides had suddenly expanded by so much. Accidents could easily happen. Just as I was feeling worried about this. Accompanied by a scream, a lord was directly launched flying by a rotting knight's lance, spraying a spray of blood in the air. Not every lord was like me, with grade A residents to sync combat strength. In fact, most of the currently participating lords had endurance values between 10 and 20. But even 20 points of endurance, charged into by a level 15 rotting knight, would be injured no lightly. 20 points of endurance converted to 200 points of health, and the damage of a level 15 rotting knight's charge was 50 points. In other words, one charge, and a quarter of the health was gone. 2 charges, and half a life was gone. Even more troublesome, after the launched lord fell to the ground, because of the complex environment, other lords simply couldn't make it in time to rescue. They couldn't even look after themselves. But the Calamity Beasts wouldn't care that much about you. In their eyes, an injured lord was exactly a target to be focus-fired and eliminated. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Me, Hongya, and Hongzhuang acted simultaneously, temporarily clearing out the Calamity Beasts around that lord. But this clearly wasn't a long-term solution. It was already like this at the very start, so what would come next? As fellow humans, fellow lords, fellow members of the great Han nation, I couldn't sit by and watch such a situation arise. Therefore, Come out, Ellie. Hmm. Accompanied by a cluster of golden light, Ellie's figure appeared on the battlefield. Ellie, heal the injured lords at the rear. I, positioned in the air, issued the command. As you command, Lord. The summoned Ellie quickly ascertained her surroundings, green sprouting in her hands, and lightly pointed toward the position where the lords at the rear were. A cluster of green burst open, within which it seemed there were even flowers blooming and birds singing. Spring in full bloom, brimming with vitality. This was exactly Ellie's skill, Forest Blessing. Forest Blessing could recover Wisdom attribute times 200% of health for friendly targets within range, so the injuries on the lords within it were quickly healed. But at this moment, their attention wasn't on themselves at all. Their entire minds were drawn to Ellie, whose whole body was shrouded in a hazy green. This hazy green, along with the green aura beneath her feet, wasn't a skill effect, but a hero trait. Whenever a hero took the stage, their body would be shrouded in a radiance of different colors depending on their profession category. Beneath their feet, a hero aura of the corresponding color would also appear. This was the mark of a hero. And Ellie, with both the radiance on her body and the aura beneath her feet being green, showed she was exactly a healing-type hero. This was a hero. In the livestream room, Ace suddenly cried out, "A hero! It's actually a hero!" Bing Bing was likewise very excited. A hero takes the stage, and a healing type at that. Ace, incredible. As a rookie lord, Lord Zhou Yun has actually recruited a hero this quickly. Bing Bing. If I remember correctly, Lord Zhou Yun is probably the first lord this term to recruit a hero. Ace, that's right. Even Su Qingxue currently has no records of having recruited a hero. What's more, this is even a healing-type hero. Bing Bing, yes. Compared to defense-type and attack-type heroes, healing-type heroes are simply too rare. Ace, Bing Bing. Why did Brother Ace suddenly sigh? Ace, healing-type heroes are so precious. Lord Zhou Yun shouldn't let her appear on such a dangerous battlefield. What if? Bing Bing. At least from the current situation, the combat strength under Lord Zhou Yun is very formidable, so there shouldn't be too much to worry about. And, after the hero took the stage, the lords on the battlefield have clearly loosened up more. Their combat enthusiasm has risen by far more than 10%. Ace, it's rather that my scope was small. Lord Zhou Yun daring to let a hero take the stage. He must have ample preparation. Bing Bing, yes. His own lineup is firmly nailed into the Calamity Beast tide, frenziedly harvesting Calamity Beasts, while the hero's appearance has given the other lords at the rear room to fully show their skills too. Ace, too fast. Truly worthy of a hero. 3 seconds. Just 3 seconds. The injured residents and lords within range were all healed. Bing Bing. Seeing this, I suddenly understand why the United Front Work Department chose to counterpush in this frontline offensive and defensive battle. Ace, haha. At least from the current look of it, the situation is excellent. The scales of victory have already tilted toward our great Han nation. At the same time, the moment Ellie took the stage, people all across the country watching the frontline offensive and defensive livestream burst into a cheer as well. A hero has appeared. A healing-type hero at that. This is a trump card. Recruited a hero this quickly? This rookie king Zhou Yun has a high gold content. Of course. After all, even Su Qingxue can only settle for second before him. With this healing-type hero, this counter-push's odds of victory have increased by at least 10%. Charge, charge, charge. With a hero leading the team, what's there to fear? Just do it. On the battlefield. Brothers. Kill. My old man's injury is healed. Lads, follow me up. There's a hero healing us. The injured pull back and get back up when at full health. So awesome. How is this healing? This is simply a mobile fountain. Brother Yun is domineering. Ellie's appearance gave courage to many lords who'd had misgivings before, and they charged forward howling. Before, not daring to charge was purely because it was too dangerous, and they feared getting injured. Whether healing potions or bandages, recovery was too slow. They were now in field battle, not stronghold battle. Once injured, there wasn't even a place to hide afterward, and it could very likely trigger a chain reaction. But now, a healing-type hero had taken the stage, recovering 58 points of health per second. Their own health bars totaled only 200-some, and in a second or two, they'd fill back up. So what was there to fear? At a time like this, not charging up to slaughter Calamity Beasts and harvest military merit? That was purely a brain not working well. And among these lords, the most excited, undoubtedly, were the lords of position 197, those who were my comrades. Because I'd brought them to the very front, though I'd briefly charged into the calamity beast tied with them. Once I got a firm footing, everyone had already caught up. They too got to occupy the most advantageous position of all the lords, close to my residence. With the calamity beasts aggro all drawn away, so few directly attacked them. And as for them, they only had to finish off the crippled calamity beasts my residents left, and they could feast happily on experience. Leveled up. Ha. Leveled up again. Little pie. Quick. There's a badly crippled rotting skeleton over there. Go finish it. There's a rotting knight over there that's badly crippled too. Hurry. There's another rotting skeleton, at your 3 o'clock direction, only a sliver of health left. Aya. So busy. Awesome. Leveled up. Ha. Leveled up again. Leveling up too fast. Unbelievable. Congratulations, the gold-devouring rat leader under you has risen to level 12. Attributes have increased. Congratulations, the water swordsman leader under you has risen to level 18. Attributes have increased. Congratulations, the mystic earth bear leader under you has risen to level 17. Attributes have increased. Listening to the level up prompts continuously coming to my ears, my mood was very beautiful too. At this rate, many of my residents would soon reach the first level threshold. That is, level 25. Heroes had no level threshold, and as long as experience was sufficient, they could level up unobstructed. But residents that were monsters were different. After they reached level 25, they needed to kill a chief-level opponent of the corresponding grade before they could break through the threshold and continue leveling up. Of course, as residents under a lord, not every one of them needed to go through this process. For the same kind of monster, as long as the leader's threshold was broken, then the level threshold for all monsters of that kind would vanish. Killing a calamity beast chief of the corresponding grade, in my view, wasn't very difficult, so I wasn't too worried about this. What I cared about now was another matter. That was, where had Su Qingxue gone? And Liang Kuan, Mu Yu, Hua Xianwan? Why had I only seen Fu Yanjie? The aerial advantage meant I didn't have to worry at all about being attacked by calamity beasts. As long as I pulled up a bit higher, even the ranged attacking rotting sorcerers could do nothing to me. So while drawing my bow, I'd also pay more attention to the lords on the ground. But from the start of battle until now, at least 10 minutes had passed, yet I still hadn't found Liang Kuan and the others. That's not right. I furrowed my brow and fell into thought. By rights, with the combat strength of Liang Kuan and Mu Yu, even if they didn't count as the first echelon, the second echelon was surely secure. If ordered by strength, they should have appeared at a fairly forward position during the advance. Not running into them during the advance would be one thing, but now that battle had been on for so long, they still hadn't appeared. Could it be they didn't join this offensive and defensive battle at all, or stayed at the stronghold? No, that's almost impossible. And even setting them aside, Su Qingxue definitely should appear. As long as she's on the battlefield, she couldn't possibly give up Nighthawk's aerial advantage. By rights, she should have appeared long ago. The more I thought, the more off it felt, always sensing I'd overlooked something somewhere. My gaze slowly moved forward, looking toward the distance. Suddenly, I understood. Although the number of the country's great lords allocated on average to a single front line isn't large, 10 could still be guaranteed. But from the start of battle until now, I hadn't seen the great lords on the Xiangsha front line appear. Since they hadn't appeared on the frontal battlefield, they must be deeper in. It was exactly because results had been achieved in the Calamity Beast's deep rear that the United Front Work Department had the Lords advance along the whole line. If that's the case, then Mu Yu and the others must have followed Su Qingxue directly to the deepest part of the battlefield. After thinking it through, everything became suddenly clear before me. No wonder the United Front Work Department had said from the start that a counter-push was expected this time. They must have planned it long ago. Ordinary Calamity Beasts couldn't possibly be a match for the Great Lords. The only thing that could make the Great Lords fight so long could only be Calamity Beast Chiefs. And Calamity Beast Chiefs were exactly the target I needed to kill next. Only by having my resident leaders kill Calamity Beast Chiefs of the corresponding grade could they break through the level limit and continue leveling up. Of course, it wasn't time yet. Whether Mystic Earth Bears or Gold-Devouring Rats, my residents currently hadn't reached level 25 yet. I really wanted to eat myself fat in one bite. Ideally with all of them leveling up to 25 in this offensive and defensive battle, breaking through the grade limit, and continuing to level up to 30 or even 40. Only this way would I have enough confidence to go back to my territory to deal with the Grade S Void Thunder-Devouring Beast. I took a deep breath, forcibly suppressed the thought, and continued fighting. The road had to be walked step by step, and rice had to be eaten bite by bite. Only by doing well in the present was there any possibility of doing well in the future. Screech! The rapidly flying night hawk suddenly stopped, letting out a shrill bird cry. Su Qingxue, seated on its back, immediately turned grave in her gaze too. At the same time, the rapidly advancing Liang Kuan, Hua Xianwan, Mu Yu, Hong Jian, Lin Xiao, Bu Yanyan, and 26 people in total all halted their steps. Their path had been blocked. The comers weren't calamity beasts, but 5 people. The one at the head had a bewitching, seductive appearance, a figure lithe and graceful as a snake, and a head of white hair that danced wildly in the wind as if it had a mind of its own. Behind her were 4 people likewise dressed in black with red lining. Prepare for battle. The opponents are the cult's young master and 4 cult grand siming. Hong Jian drew his precious sword, summoning his residents while loudly warning. The cult's young master? Grand siming? Liang Kuan, Hua Xianwan, and others who weren't clear on the inside story were greatly shaken. They'd never had frontal contact with the cult, but this didn't stop them from knowing what the cult's young master and grand siming meant. The cult's young master, also the cult's so-called successor to the holy master of unknown strength. From Zhou Yun's record of solo killing the cult's young master last time, the cult's young master shouldn't be very strong and could be skipped over first. But the grand siming. The cult's grand siming were the counterparts to the great Han nation's great lords. Every grand siming had the strength to frontally oppose a great lord. In other words, for grand siming were 4 great lord-level combat forces. Aren't we supposed to be going to support the frontmost line? How could we encounter great lord-level combat forces? A few lords had clearly already grown fearful. Their lips turned white because of it. Hong Jian and Su Qingxue said not a word. Supporting the frontmost line was a secret route they'd analyzed through family intelligence that could gain large amounts of merit. Killing ordinary calamity beasts, though the merit gained was considerable, was hardly worth mentioning compared to killing calamity beast chiefs. But the family had only given them the marching route and the target. The intelligence hadn't told them at all that they'd encounter the cult mid-march. Undoubtedly, this was a sudden incident. A deadly, sudden incident. On the other side, the livestream room's camera, for some reason, suddenly left the frontal battlefield and began meaninglessly wandering around. The viewers discussed this in a stir. What's going on? What the heck? We want to see the battle situation. What are you showing us scenery for? Is now the time to look at scenery? Are you crazy? The 2 commentators in the livestream room were also mystified by this. But at the United Front Work Department, Kushodong, who served as director, wore a grim face, like a lion filled with anger. Nonsense. He suddenly slammed the table, giving the 2 people behind him a great fright. Kushodong abruptly rose, and the shadow of his burly frame completely enveloped the 2 people behind him. Relying on your own status, stealing the United Front Work Department's combat plans and deployment. Do you know what you're doing? Claiming it's for the family's younger generation, for the youngsters' growth? Is doing this good for them? You're harming them. This time at least 2 grand siming of the cult still haven't been located, and they may very well be hiding somewhere on the battlefield, launching a surprise attack on our great Han nation's talents. Zhou Yun has 2 great lords of my sending protecting him, but which great lord do the youngsters of your clans have protecting them? You? Or you? Simply outrageous. Not to mention, there are also the lords they've dragged along with them. You. Just wait to go before the military tribunal. Found them. The chief of staff suddenly pointed at the big screen. Thereat, halfway through, the chief of staff could no longer go on. And the 2 clan elders from the 2 families who looked at the big screen first, upon the very first glance at the on-screen information, nearly fainted. 4 grand siming.